I's the boy that builds the boat, and I's the boy that sails her. I's the boy that catches the fish and brings them out to Liza. Hip your partner Sally Taboo, hip your partner Sally Brown. Fogo, Twillingate, Morton's Harbour, all around the circle. Sods and rind to cover your flake, cake and tea for supper. Codfish in the spring of the year, fried in maggoty butter. Hip your partner Sally Taboo, hip your partner Sally Brown. Fogo, Twillingate, Morton's Harbour, all around the circle.
I don't want your maggoty fish, that's no good for winter. I can buy as good as that down in Bonavista.
Hip your partner Sally Taboo, hip your partner Sally Brown. Fogo, Twillingate, Morton's Harbour, all around the circle. I took Liza to the dance in faith that she could travel. Every step that she did take was up to her knees in gravel. Hip your partner Sally Taboo, hip your partner Sally Brown. Fogo, Twillingate, Morton's Harbour, all around the circle. Susan White, she's out of sight, her petticoat needs a border. Old Sam Oliver in the dark, he kissed her in the corner. Hip your partner Sally Taboo, hip your partner Sally Brown. Fogo, Twillingate, Morton's Harbour, all around the circle. I's the boy that builds the boat, and I's the boy that sails her. I's the boy that catches the fish and brings them out to Liza. Hip your partner Sally Taboo, hip your partner Sally Brown. Fogo, Twillingate, Morton's Harbour, all around the circle. Hip your partner Sally Taboo, hip your partner Sally Brown. Fogo, Twillingate, Morton's Harbour, all around the circle.
My grandfather's clock was too large for the shelf, so it stood 90 years on the floor. It was taller by half than the old man himself, though it weighed not a pennyweight more. It was bought on the morn of the day that he was born. It was always his treasure and pride, but it stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. 90 years without slumbering, tick-tock, tick-tock, his life seconds numbering, tick-tock, tick-tock, but it stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. In watching its pendulum swing to and fro, many hours had he spent while a boy. And in childhood and manhood the clock seemed to know, and to share both his grief and his joy. For it struck 24 when he entered in the door, with a blooming and beautiful bride. But it stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. 90 years without slumbering, tick-tock, tick-tock, his life seconds numbering, tick-tock, tick-tock, but it stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. My grandfather said that of those he could hire, not a servant so faithful he found. For it wasted no time, and had but one desire, at the close of each week to be wound. For it kept in its place, not a frown upon its face, and its hands never hung by his side. But it stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. 90 years without slumbering, tick-tock, tick-tock, his life seconds numbering, tick-tock, tick-tock, but it stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. It rang an alarm in the dead of the night, an alarm that for years had been dumb. And we knew that his spirit was pluming for flight, that his hour of departure had come. Still the clock kept its time with a soft and muffled chime as we silently stood by his side. But it stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. 90 years without slumbering, tick-tock, tick-tock, his life seconds numbering. Tick-tock, tick-tock, but it stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. Yes, it stopped short, never to go again when the old man died.
As I was going to Derby, 'twas on a market day, I spied the biggest rancer that ever was fed on hay. And indeed, lads, it's true, lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen the same as I. His rammy had full hooves, sir, and on them he did stand, and every step he took, sir, it covered an acre of land. And indeed, lads, it's true, lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen the same as I. The wool that grew upon him, sir, made 50 packs complete, and that was sent to Flanders to clothe the British fleet. And indeed, lads, it's true, lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen the same as I. The tail was 50 yards, sir, as near as I can tell, and it was sent to Rome, sir, to ring St. Peter's bell. And indeed, lads, it's true, lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen the same as I. This rammy had a head, sir, that reached up to the sky. The eagles built their nets in it, I heard the young ones cry. And indeed, lads, it's true, lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen the same as I. This rammy had 2 horns, sir, that reached up to the moon. A man climbed up in January and didn't come down till June. And indeed, lads, it's true, lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen the same as I. And all the lads of Derby come begging for his eyes to make them into footballs, for they were football size. And indeed, lads, it's true, lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen the same as I. And if you don't believe me, sir, if you think I lie, just ask the folk of Derby, they'll say the same as I. And indeed, lads, it's true, lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen the same as I. And indeed, lads, it's true, lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen the same as I.
Amazing grace, amazing grace, amazing grace, our Lord. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. that full my heart to fear and grace my fears relieve. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first toils and snares we have already come. Was grace that brought us safe so far, and grace will lead us home. Amazing grace, amazing grace, amazing grace, our
a fond kiss, and then we sever. A farewell, and then forever. Deep in hair-wrung tears, I'll pledge thee. Warring sighs and groans, I'll wage thee. I'll ne'er blame my partial fancy. Nathan could resist my Nancy, but to see her is to love her. Love but her and loony other. Who shall say that fortune grieves him, while the star of hope she leaves him? Meany cheerful twinkle lights me, dark despair around benights me. Had we never loved so kindly, had we never loved so blindly, never met or never parted, we would ne'er been broken hearted. Fare thee weel, thou first and fairest. Fare thee weel, thou best and dearest. Thine be ilka joy and treasure, peace, enjoyment, love and pleasure. A fond kiss, and then we sever. A farewell, alas, forever. Deep in hair-wrung tears, I'll pledge thee. Warring sighs and groans, I'll wage thee. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and old lang syne? For old lang syne, my Joe, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for old lang syne. We twa hae paddled in the burn Fae morning sun till dine. We've wandered mony a weary fit sin auld lang syne. For auld lang syne, my Jo, for auld lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for auld lang syne. We twa hearing about the braes and pooed the gowans fine, but seas between us braid hair old sin auld lang syne. For auld lang syne, my Jo, for auld lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for auld lang syne. And surely you'll be your pint stout, as surely I'll be mine. We'll tak a recht good wally wacht for auld lang syne. For auld lang syne, my Jo, for auld lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for auld lang syne. So here's a hand, my trusty fear, and gie's a hand o' thine. We'll take a recht good wally wacht for auld lang syne. For auld lang syne, my Jo, for auld lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for auld lang syne.
There were two little sisters a-walking alone, hey, the gay and the grinding. Two little sisters a-walking alone by the bonny, bonny bowls of London. And the eldest pushed her sister in, hey, the gay and the grinding. Pushed her sister into the stream by the bonny, bonny bowls of London. Oh, she pushed her in and she watched her down, hey, the gay and the grinding. Watched her body floating down by the bonny, bonny bowls of London. Oh, they laid her out on the bank to die, hey, the gay and the grinding. For with the fiddle came riding by the bonny, bonny bowls of London. And he made some strings from this yellow hair, hey, the gay and the grinding. Made some strings from this yellow hair by the bonny, bonny bowls of London. And he made fiddle pegs from a long finger bone, hey, the gay and the grinding. Made fiddle pegs from a long finger bone by the bonny, bonny bowls of London. And he made a fiddle out of her breastbone, hey, the gay and the grinding. Sound would pierce the heart of a stone by the bonny, bonny bowls of London. But the only tune that the fiddle would play was, oh, the bowls of London. The only tune the fiddle would play was the bonny, bonny bowls shores of London.
Where the wind can cut you like a knife, and nights are colder than the purser's wife, sir. Do we dream of sunny skies of blue and sipping on some fancy foreign brew, sir? No, sir, no. We long to sail where greyer English skies prevail, and we would face the wind and snow and hail for just one pail of good old English ale, sir. Just one pail of good old English ale, sir. Did we choose to fight the foreign foe for England's glory? We must answer no, sir. An English ale house, that's where we would be, not gorging cannonballs upon the sea, sir. We're only risking life and limb because old England's too far to swim. But we would chance an iron arm or leg for just one keg of good old English ale, sir. Just one keg of good old English ale, sir. Many days and many lonely nights without one woman hoving into sight, sir. Now it won't be long till we see our wives and sweethearts lined up on the quay, sir, with their arms all open wide. But we will push them gently aside, for they will have to wait for us until we've had our fill of good old English ale, sir. Had our fill of good old English ale, sir.
Come landlord, fill the flowing bowl until it doth run over. Come landlord, fill the flowing bowl until it doth run over. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. Tomorrow we'll be sober. Here's to the man who drinks strong ale and goes to bed quite mellow. Here's to the man who drinks strong ale and goes to bed quite mellow. He lives as he ought to live. He lives as he ought to live. He lives as he ought to live. And dies a jolly good fellow. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. Tomorrow we'll be sober. Here's to the man who drinks water neat and goes to bed quite sober. Here's to the man who drinks water neat and goes to bed quite sober. He fades as the leaves do fade. He fades as the leaves do fade. He fades as the leaves do fade. That drop off in October. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. Tomorrow we'll be sober. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and goes to tell her mother. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and goes to tell her mother. She is a very foolish girl. She is a very foolish girl. She is a very foolish girl. She'll never get another. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. Tomorrow we'll be sober. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and comes back for another. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and comes back for another. She is a boon to all mankind. She is a boon to all mankind. She is a boon to all mankind. She'll very soon be a mother. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. Tomorrow we'll be sober.
And the Dream League Season 26 close qualifiers continue here with Harry and Danog. And Danog, you brought me in last minute here to stand in for you to watch a great series of Navi Junior versus Avilis. Take me through what has happened in the Western European qualifier and our viewers as well, so that we know what we are going to be looking at and just how important this match actually is.
I mean, it's pretty important, right? We've already got 2 teams that have qualified through, Tundra and Gaiman going in through the upper bracket, so that means that there's just 1 lower bracket qualification spot left. The 4 teams remaining, these 2, Navi Junior and Avilis, as well as Team Secret, who came through the open qualifiers, and Capybaras as well, who I believe... Oh, they didn't knock OG out, but they beat the team that knocked OG out of the open qualifiers. So we've got some pretty good teams overall still left in these quals, but Avilis did not look that great in the series that we were casting 2 days ago, going up against Capybaras. They just looked a level below. So hopefully some of that synergy has come back, because they do have Mobe and Desire standing in for them at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know if they're now a... standard part of the team or not. I know that Stormer is definitely out, but either way, we can talk about it a little bit as the draft is developing on our screens. It is ready. Let's get into it. And have you watched some Avilis? You said that they haven't been looking the greatest. Have you seen something in particular that you think that they're lacking at the moment?
Just team cohesion, to be honest, right? Like, it seemed like all 5 players wanted to do something different from each other. Now, granted, they've had a second series against Zero Tenacity that they won 2-0. One of the games went 61 minutes, but still, they got the W, right? So maybe they just had a bit of teething problems, I guess you could call it, and now they're coming back into it. Seneko, he's really one that I feel brings these, like, let's call them tier 2 teams, and he makes them like tier 1.5, but I wasn't seeing that at all in the first series. And I love me some Seneko, but he was just on a completely different page from everyone else.
Hopefully that does change now in this series, because they're going to need it. Navi Junior recently have been looking pretty good ever since Zayats joined the lineup, and I think it has been like 3-4 months, I think would be the right estimate. Somewhere in December he joined. They LAN back then, which they got second in, the runner-up. So these guys ever since have been looking pretty decent. But how do you feel about these openings? I mean, both Darkseer and Dirce are kinda in the meta, but you don't see them always being picked up in the first phase, especially not in Ursa.
Yes, the Ursa's the one that's really confusing me a little bit more, right? Because Darkseer, yes, you've got as a bit of a comfort pick for Navi Junior, but it also denies it away from Jibe, right? Like, we can already see with some of the bans, Magnus gone, Enigma gone, those are like Jibe's specialties. So I will say I'm very happy to see the Tinker removed from the pool. I never want to see that hero again. It's just way too good. And Jakiro, I think, is being given the relevant respect that it needs. And surprised actually it took Nature's Prophet that long to be banned out. It's got like a 99% contest rate on this patch at the moment. So I'm of the opinion that you can just first pick Nature's Prophet and fit it anywhere into your draft, and it's going to be just fine.
Yeah, most definitely. I've seen it. I only have not seen it on a 5. Everywhere else, it, I think, can be fitted in. And you know what? I feel like some teams could fit him in a 5 as well. It's just that you don't want to, because he would be better somewhere else. But yeah, overall, Ursa versus a Darkseer lane, is that something that you would be okay playing as an Ursa, or is there a way for the Darkseer with the right position 4 to actually come out on top in this one?
I think it's less about the position 4 and more about the position 5 that you're going up against with the Ursa, right? Like, if you're picking something that, for example, has a way to purge the Darkseer, like, you know, Enchantress, for example, you then don't have a stun. So then it just comes down to maybe picking a melee position 4 that buys boots early on, and you just drag the creep wave and you don't lane into the Ursa. So you just get a few of those early levels and then start to make the dives underneath the tower happen once you start to build up a few creep waves and some momentum there, you know, using the glyph and things of that nature. Something we've seen with Zayats as well, he's played the Riki already, so that could be a combination that we're looking at. And in playing the Riki, he also killed the range creep of the first wave before it even reached, like, between the tier 2 and tier 3 towers. So it's just, like, makes the lane bounce back and forth, and it makes it a little bit more chaotic, and certainly makes life easier for the Darkseer.
That's kind of what you would want. Warlock, I like. Whenever I see the Slark or the Ursa, I would like a healer in the lane. Those heroes that allow you to kill the enemies are fine, but then if you're left at like 20% HP, you can't really do much. I always like the Warlock and the Ursa together, and then you just go forward, go aggressive. But this is something that has been picked up a little bit less now when they have reduced his healing during the night. But overall, still very powerful. If you survive the laning stage just the same, the hero works in exactly the same way, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, it just feels like an incredibly strong hero. It makes you hate your life as a support as well. There's really no supporter that's happy to play up against a Night Stalker for sure. So I'm not envious of Seneko. Just on that point that you were mentioning with the having it for a kill lane, it feels nice with the Warlock, but then, you know, you got to kind of go back and it makes it a little bit more difficult. I really want to see them at least try, maybe make an early rotation to get one extra charge into that Black Grimoire, because it's really good. Like the timings that you can hit at 7.5 minutes to drop the rock onto the enemy safe lane, take that because no one can fight that at that early point of the game. And it also means that it's back up by the time that the 10.5 minute mark comes, and you can just use it on the mid lane. So basically take 2 towers with 2 golems at the 10.5 minute mark. I think that's just an insane amount of value and something that no other support can really provide you in this game. But this was the main hero that I also had concerns about for Seneko, because it really felt like he I think, dropped 2 rocks in the entire game, and it lasted like 35 minutes, and that is just not good enough for me.
Yeah, maybe now he's going to be changing his approach and just dropping it all the time. I know Kidaro, when he plays the Warlock, off cooldown, he drops it. I've seen him just drop it like, oh, support kill, Crystal Maiden, I don't care, rock is going down, and I'm farming with it. He just needs an excuse to put it down, actually. So I'm hoping Seneko takes a page out of that book.
For sure. I think the only time you really need to hold it is when it gets to the later stages and you need to stop like a BKB TP to escape, for example, you know, or something of that nature. Just waste some of that BKB time, especially the 9-second ones, just so that you are getting a little bit more effectiveness from the team. Like this Tidehunter, by the way. I mean, you're going up against 2 melee so far, if you can even call Darkseer that. But more importantly, Dead in the Water is really going to do a whole lot to be able to protect those supports on the backline. You know, Night Stalker doesn't want to be popping that Crippling Fear until he's actually on top of the supports. So Tidehunter just needs to try and put himself in the way, get that anchor onto the Night Stalker, and then, you know, suddenly the supports have a much easier time in these team fights.
So some people are not the biggest fans of Dragonite in general. How do you feel about the hero's positioning in the game at the moment?
I mean, I think it was just giga busted previously, and now it's been brought back to reasonable. We're seeing at least more flexibility with the facets as well. I'm not sure what they're actually going to go this time around. I would imagine it's going to be the Red Dragon. Yes, it's not as strong as it was before, but you don't have that giga position 1 if Dragon Knight isn't being played position 1 and it's being played mid, that's going to be like soaking up a bunch of farm. And I feel like those are the instances now where you need that farmer, you need that late game scaling. That's when you can pick the Red Dragon versus always. Whereas if you are playing with, let's say, a TA, for example, someone that is going to get a bunch of farm, that's going to do a bunch of damage, and you can go the Poison Dragon, you've got that armor reduction, combos together well with your position 1, and you can make it work. And we're even seeing a couple of Frost Dragons when you're going up against the likes of like Morphling. And yeah, I like the fact that all of the facets are being picked, at least with some regularity these days.
I haven't seen a single Fire Dragon, though. I don't know if it happened here in this qualifier, because I haven't been able to follow every single one. But in all of the games I've cast, it's like 85% corrosive. And then, of course, as you mentioned, the Frost Dragon coming out. And I even saw GPK playing the corrosive dragon. He was very greedy. He farmed. He still bought, you know, the blink, but he's just put so much emphasis on farming, and he still didn't want to go for the Fire Dragon, and he played it multiple times that way. So I'm kind of leaning towards that being the case.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you still get the splash aspect as well once you've got that Elder Dragon form as well. So that feels nice to be able to have. Tiny as well is another one. I think it's top 5 contested across the entire patch. So I'm surprised it's lasted this long.
Yep, and it's amazing in this game in particular, right? With the Darkseer versus the Warlock versus the Hoodwink, generally versus the Ursa, sometimes you can struggle, but that's where the Surge comes in, so that you can kill a support and escape. So I love it.
Yeah, for sure. And just look at those tactical bans as well, right? Not wanting to give Tiny, whether it be mid lane or if Tiny was to play position 1, no good matchups against it. And it's not really like you want to pick Viper or Huskar at this stage, I don't think. I think you're just going to have a little bit too much difficulty doing anything across the map, to be perfectly honest. You know, Avulus's roster, yeah, you're pretty good at being able to take some of these objectives, whether they be Tormentor or Roshan, but you got to win the team fights to be able to make it happen, and they are quite cooldown reliant at the moment. So that's really what I'm wanting to see from them, is just someone that can be active at all stages so that you don't have this huge disparity between when we've got ults, we're powerful, when we don't, we're useless.
Ember, maybe? They go Shaker.
Okay.
I guess he can play without his ulti, but still kind of relies on it. I can't say that I love the Shaker pick overall, though. I would have liked something with a little bit more poke, rather than I want to burst you down from 100 to 0. Because when I look at Navi Junior's heroes, man, they are insanely tanky. I would have even been fine if you want to burst them down, just pick a Timber Saw. I know it's not that great in the current meta, but I mean, look at their heroes. So I'm not 100% sold on this Avulus lineup, not gonna lie.
Yeah, me either. I don't mind the Earthshaker just because you are against the Tiny. He's going to have not that much armor to be able to start off with, so the Enchant Totem can actually do a whole lot in that lane, kind of like what you do against Puck, for example, in the lane, just make his life not too great. And, oh, okay, he's changed. Got the Juice actually had the Frost Dragon chosen for a while, but he's changed to the Corrosive, which I like. You know, anything that's just going to enable them to kite these people around. You've already got the Darkseer to be able to make it happen. You've got a bunch of stuns as well. You know, Ringmaster Fear, Vacuum, Dragon Tail. Crippling Fear's kind of a stun, a little bit of a slow, and then of course the Tiny as well. So I'm quite liking the Na'Vi Junior lineup.
Yeah, I'm loving it. It is the classic Darkseer lineup. I feel like I don't think that Avulus have necessarily countered the first pick Darkseer. Better yet, they actually allowed Na'Vi Junior to get a lineup that could thrive with the Darkseer. But then again, it does rely on it a little bit too much. If his lane, or game rather, goes badly, I could see this lineup on Na'Vi Junior struggling as well. But still, Avulus, I can't say I would want to be in their skin. They don't have good outpush. They're dealing with the Darkseer. Their lanes are always going to be running towards and squishy supports versus a lot of vision in the Tiny. It's a lot of things to think about if you're Avulus and to play against. I don't envy them.
For sure. And it wouldn't be a game without a pause at the very beginning. What do you reckon about the position 4 Night Stalker that's come out here? Zayats is playing it just backline disruptor, you reckon? And you know, they wanted a melee to pair together with this Darkseer?
I mean, you know, at the start, when people started picking this position 4 Night Stalker, it was weird to me. Not in a sense like I played position 4 Night Stalker back in 2016, but it's just that people built him like a core. They would still buy items that are kind of core-ish, right? And I have to say I've gotten used to it now, right? I understand that the hero is not as strong as he was pre-patch, but it's, in my mind, it's still extremely powerful, and its job doesn't really have to be just to give vision and to find the backline. I mean, if things go well for him, which can happen in Darkseer double melee lanes, you never know, I could see him just getting away with this game, basically.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Zayats, I mentioned his Reki previously. Like, he got absolutely out of control. I think he was up against double slow or something like that against a Medusa, so he was able to not only go the Diffusal Blade on the Reki, but then get farmed enough to build that into a Disperser. So not only were you able to get out of the slows, but also the Gorgon's Grasp, and he was really, really effective all throughout the game. So I'm expecting to see a similar sort of thing. He's already leveled up the Hunter in the Night as well. No, never mind. He's put the Void, so he's gone the Night Rain, so he's got that extra talent point that you just start with. But it should still give him the extra movement speed that he needs to do exactly what I was talking about, right? Like, look at the lines being drawn on the map by Darkseer at the moment, basically saying we need to get in behind, we need to make sure that we're getting off to a good start. And is Niku gonna pop their smoke?
Not yet. Not yet. That was close, though.
Both him and gonna be a little careful.
Is Ursa really a viable kill? I'm looking at this Na'Vi Junior line. Maybe they can wait for the nighttime, but Ursa is a hard kill. Fast hero. has Earthshock if he needs it,
Mhm.
and it won't get him.
But yeah, right. Like as soon as it turns to nighttime, we'll see Zayatz's movement speed really pick up. And what's a Warlock gonna do to be able to stop you from pulling? He's moving it. Well, he's in the river. 323. Let's say 325 movement speed.
You didn't want to say the exact number. It is a dumb number. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan when they changed in the game that you have all of these weird numbers. I liked it when it was almost always rounded out, right? But
Well, this one should round, right? He had 295, and then he gets an extra 10%. So 10% of 295 is 29.5. Surely that rounds up.
No, your math is obviously wrong because it says here 394. So sorry, 324. But
well.
we'll see. Anyways, though, I am very curious to how Avilis is going to be playing this lane. I feel like Zayat is going to be wanting to get smacked by Seneko, and then Seneko is not going to be wanting to really fight him and wanting to make sure that the Darkseer is the one who gets all of the hate. But overall, the start of this lane, perfect for Navi Jr.
Yeah, for sure. And the one, I guess, saving point for Avilis is that you're playing with a Warlock, right, against the Darkseer. So when Navi Jr. eventually want to start pushing out and like diving under the tower at potentially like level 2, level 3, trying to get kills in that way, you can just level up the Fatal Bonds and just spam it in the lane. Make sure that lane is consistently pushing out, protect your Lotus Pool a little bit as well. That feels quite good, but especially with that Shadow Word being leveled up, Zayats just says thank you very much and yoinks away the creep wave.
He literally doesn't care. Seneko is attacking him, and he does not care. Shrugs it off like it's nothing, really. That is the bummer, and this is the advantage that they got by making sure that that first wave did go into the tower. So Navi Jr. are very, very happy, and this is what I think this is what Navi Jr. in the past really did lack. I mean, Daze was a pretty good player, but the thing is that they lacked experience on their side. They lacked somebody to get a new perspective because they pretty much had 5 players who learned Dota together. So you needed somebody from the outside, and Zayats has been an amazing addition.
Yeah, for sure. I'm even able to build up a few stacks as well, and I think PMA is going to be A-okay. Having a look at some of these other ones as well, other lanes. Riddy's doing a pretty decent job of harassing Jibe out here. Ringmaster, of course, one of the most annoying supports, and actually, speaking of Riddy's, should be just fine.
I'm looking at this Ringmaster now for the past 10-15 days. I've been casting a lot of Ringmaster. In the right hands, it just looks ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes I've seen people just make mistakes, and a lot of teams don't even want to pick him up, right? But the players that have invested into playing him a lot when he came out are really showing it in the competitive environment.
And Zayats is just doing everything right up on this top side. He's only level 1 at the moment, but it means his Darkseer is level 3. Means he was able to go and secure this Lotus Pool for himself. He's just basically got every single creep possible on the Darkseer, and Zayats is making sure that the pulls aren't happening as well. So this is where that Fatal Bond spam is really going to start to come out, because that spells danger if you're getting dived underneath the tower at this early stage.
I think oh no, scratch that. Anyways, the mid lane, we haven't talked about that too much, right? Generally, the Shaker should do well versus most, if not all, melee heroes. But Tiny is holding his own. How do you feel like this one should have went? Do you think this is within expectations, or should somebody have gotten a bit more?
I think maybe Mobe could have got a little bit more, especially since he's a Tiny spammer himself, so he'll know like the strengths and the weaknesses of the lane. And yes, you do have the ability to harass the Tiny, but you also don't have that huge attack damage advantage against like you do against most other heroes, right? It's a freaking Tiny. He's going to be able to secure everything. He's going to be able to get a bunch of his own denies. He's actually got 7 relative to the 8 on Mobe at this point. So I think Niku's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, for sure. Smiling Knight gonna be healed up by the Warlock. This is what we talked about. Ursa likes to have the healers. He can play aggressive, but this time around, playing aggressive doesn't really slow down the Darkseer. And I feel like the Darkseer having a good lane is the single most important thing for Navi Jr. Even for Avilis, it was important to keep him down, and well, they didn't manage to do it.
Nope. I think they've just resigned themselves to the fact that, look, if you're not going to pick a kill lane for this this Ursa to be able to actually secure kills on Darkseer and slow him down or get rid of the Ion Shell, you just got to be content with breaking even. And I guess he's kind of done that, right? Once he finishes farming this wave, they'll be basically neck and neck on net worth, so I think Smiling Knight's going to be relatively okay with that.
Okay. Makes sense. PMA, getting some stacks off. Of course, with the Darkseer, easy to farm them. We still haven't seen a single kill. Maybe we're going to be seeing one in the mid lane, and yeah, they do get Mobe low enough, but even with the Blood Grenade, it's not going to be good enough to get the kill, so Mobe will survive, and of course, Saneko is there to assist him, heal him up a bit. Also, like that Zayats is being given a little bit of priority in the top lane to get some nice experience going his way.
It's all because of the work that he's already done, though, right? Like, he made a bunch of stacks for PMA to be able to take, which he's taking right now, so good understanding of the early phases. That's what you really love to see with these young teams, right? Is a lot of the stuff that goes on in the first, like, let's say 12 minutes of the game is the same across the board. So if you can get that right, then you work on the later stuff, right? The cohesion, the level-headedness to be able to make the right plays.
He survived. Now he turns around, connects there onto Desire, bushwhack off the Mark Reed. This is just waiting to heal up underneath the tower. Desire needs to be careful. He's a very squishy squirrel. And Zibe picks up one of the one of the impalement tars there for himself. It still does hurt, even on a Tidehunter.
Yeah. For sure. Wasn't close enough to the old Kraken shell, the blubber threshold to be able to instantly remove it, but oh well.
You're gonna have to predict to me where we're gonna see a first blood, because it doesn't seem like anybody is too keen on dying at this moment.
I'm gonna say maybe 10.5 minutes is when we're expected to see it, because Nightstalker doesn't want to do anything at this stage. Daytime. Doesn't look like anyone's set to try and invade any sort of wisdom runes, and everyone else is pretty tanky across the board. So maybe it'll go somewhere different if they do get a lucky 8-minute power rune, but other than that, I'm expecting it to still stay pretty stagnant for at least this point in time.
Who does this
maybe
fake
now,
with,
Mobe.
Well, let's see if that's gonna happen. Echo will be used on Niku. Bushwhack as well. They don't pull him into the tower, but he doesn't have any more one charges. Name the beast, pulling them away. Pushing them away, rather. Avalanche also keep them at bay, and if Ridis doesn't take any more damage, should be okay for Niku to get closer. It is gonna be way too far away for them to get the connection. 75 HP for Tiny. It's quite low. PMA in a little bit of trouble. Smiling Knight gets him low. 2 cores right now, barely coming out alive. That does put Ursa in an uncomfortable spot.
And then both teams are going to have a chance to be able to strategize, because Got the Juice does not have the connection to the game. He's DC'd underneath his own tier 1 tower. Doubt he would have been able to TP anyway to be able to help with this one. You really can't let a Tidehunter just get a little bit too far out of control. Otherwise, you know, you just become this unkillable beast. You get a bunch of those early aura items, and then not to the same extent of something like a Broodmother, but it does kind of... You're forced to bring at least 3 heroes to kill him, and I don't think they want to let that happen.
How is Smiling Knight supposed to strategize this? He's gonna be surrounded by 4 heroes, doesn't have an Earthshock, has a Healing Lotus and an ulti, but I wouldn't want to be in this position.
I guess they've got Avatos. Sorry, I didn't quite see that on Niku. I thought it was still on cooldown, so yeah, maybe he just needs to make sure that he's timing it correctly. Save the toss, just in case he's able to pop that in rage. We shall see, though. Worth going for the kill, I suppose.
Tell me, is he dying or no? Quick
yes.
prediction. Okay, Smiling Knight needs to get away. Has 17, 18 wand charges. Healing Lotus as well. We'll get the wand first, and they let him go up. Okay. My analyst will get his prediction right later on, of course.
Eventually.
Yeah. I guess
your
prediction of 10.5 will be correct, unless Zibe does connect here on Got the Juice.
Ravage.
Going through the portal. Yeah, nice dodge there onto the trees. Got the Juice running away. There is a Shaker coming from the other side as well. They really want to kill him. I mean, it's pretty much a given now that he's gonna die. But the question is how fast can they take him out, and how many spells will they use? No big ones. Oh, got blocked in. I don't think I've ever seen that he cannot move an inch, and Zibe gets himself a first blood.
Very, very nicely done. It's actually pretty big as well. Like, that was the Black Grimoire charge that I was wanting for Seneko. So now he's got 2. It's going to give him an extra 500 XP towards his level 6. So he'll probably be like level 5.5 if he levels it up. So just getting that little bit closer. Hasn't been able to drop it at that 7.5 minute mark, like I was saying, but should absolutely have it there for the 10-minute siege creep to be able to play around with. And I would imagine that Shibe is going to be holding his Ravage as well for whichever tower they eventually want to start to converge onto on Avilis.
We'll see which one that is going to be. Lucky for them, they did save the Ravage, so most definitely still have the firepower to take on even a full lineup of Navi Jr. Nighttime, though, is coming, right? So even when you do get that Golem, if it is nighttime, it is going to be a little bit tougher to utilize properly. How do you feel the next 5 minutes of the game will go? Who's going to be on the aggressive more?
Really hard to say, to be honest, right? Like, oh, hold on. They're going in here, but there's a mechanism coming out on the courier for PMA, so they just need to delay this long enough to potentially bait and turn this one around.
Zayats is running forward, actually, with a lot of
the juice is here.
Fury swipe stacks on him, and Seneko is just going to be taken out. He cannot get away from Zayats himself. He's going to wait for the Darkseer to get the kill. Now looking towards the Ursa, the Enrage has already been popped, so Smiling Knight is in a lot of trouble. Shaker getting in, getting silenced up, surge forward. Zayats goes on top of Smiling Knight and just gives vision for God the Juice to get the last hit. And once your ulti is done, the nighttime will remain still.
Very, very nice little play coming through there from Navi Jr. Avilis kind of resigned themselves to their fate, sort of similar to Got the Juice previously when he lost that first blood. Because at least if this sort of thing is happening, you want to get something in exchange, right? And Shibe has done exactly that. He's going to be opening up this bottom side of the map, heavily reducing the amount of space that you have to be able to farm on, honestly, all of their cores. You can even call Nightstalker a pseudo core when he's got that Ion Shell coming through for him as well. So just to be able to give a little bit more safe space for Ursa in particular to be farming is going to be so vital. Because he's farming right next to a ward right now.
Both of the mid laners will have a Blink Dagger at a similar timing. But the thing is that a Tiny is so far ahead. I mean, Mobe kind of forced to rush it. And how much does this annoy you as a Shaker? That I guess you're going to get the Blink at a decent timing, but you won't have any extra items to play with.
That's the thing that I was talking about, right? Like, really wanting, at the very end of the draft, that hero that is always going to be active. And until you've got, you know, Blink Dagger, Aghanims, Power Treads, you don't have that as an Earthshaker. Whereas he might even just echo this camp, though, on Mobe. Yes, he does. He echoed the entire Ancient stack. So he's not going to be getting super active, but it will mean that he's got that item to be able to at least start to make plays with. But, I mean, without the Echo Slam, how effective is that Blink Dagger going to be?
We'll find out. We'll find out in the next 2 minutes or so. They do see him, though. He's not even going to get that delivered Golem being dropped. Not going to be saving Mobe's life. And we talked about the Golem being needed for a push. Now, it is just going to be dropped for nothing. You do lose 2 heroes. Zibe using the Ravage as well. Bushwhack connecting onto 3 of them. And this turnaround could be huge. Wheel of Wonder keeping Zibe away. And now they're looking towards Desire. Very squishy hero. So Neko's Golem still alive. Barely, though. And Tiny will get himself away. Still, a pretty nice victory for Navi Jr.
Yes, indeed. And, I mean, that Golem actually did a whole lot of damage. Niku even being able to get an amp damage as well. And this is what I was talking about. Just frequent aggression is going to be able to come out. You know that, well, you don't know that there's no Echo Slam, but you're 100% sure there's no Ravage or Chaotic Offering. So you would have to imagine that they're priming themselves for some sort of play in an aggressive sense quite soon.
Probably want to continue going to that mid lane, right? The tower is relatively low. If you get a kill around the lane once again, you can most definitely open up the map.
Nico maybe just wants to get the bounty rune, but perhaps he just wants to immediately converge with the rest of his team now that Riddies has the arcane boots coming out to him on the courier. It's like he's going to be fighting fit once this one comes through, so is the smoke going to be coming, or are they just going to straight up walk into that mid lane? You would have to imagine they're feeling confident enough to just walk. I'm honestly a little surprised that we're not seeing Got the Juice get a little bit more active with his team. Maybe just wants to finish up that Maelstrom first, but this was an opportunity to take that objective fairly easily, and they've just let it slip.
I feel like a lot of the DKs I watched have just fallen off. So I I can't say. I'm not sure how you're supposed to play this hero, but a lot of the DKs that just focused on pushing towers even from the carry role, I feel like fell flat. So maybe this is the way to utilize it.
It's a little deep here.
Gonna try to escape. He does have desire to cover for him. Impalement arts will connect, and Night Stalker is here with the extra vision. It will be finding desire. That's gonna be a nice kill with a toss back. Almost no chances for him to get out. Tame the Beast connects a very long Tame the Beast at that. With Dark Extension going strong, they do want Zibe as well. Without the Ravage, he is not a threat, but also hard to kill.
I was about to say, is he going to go for this Wisdom Rune area, but it's being covered by Mobe at this point. Realizes
Poor
that he is a
Seneko.
little bit behind. And yeah, poor Seneko indeed. There's nothing that you could do at this point. Even Jibe TPing in isn't going to accomplish much of anything. And yeah, can't give that really solid start over to PMA. Already has the Guardian Greaves as well to be able to play around with. So nice way to be able to at least purge off one of those Fatal Bonds.
Really can make a difference.
Yeah. Niku's just getting more and more aggressive. That ward that Zayat's placed down 4 minutes ago still has vision of Smiling Knight, but looks like he'll be able to get away just in time.
He had a vision of his own there, so he knew that they were coming. Lucky for him. If there was no ward there, probably he wouldn't have been farming there anyways, but you know, sometimes you feel secure because you just saw them in the mid lane and then bam, die. Speaking of, though, the spells are back for Avulus, so now they do have the tools to fight if they want to.
Yep, got a pipe, I believe, coming out for Jibe as well. Will it be able to reach him in time, though?
Oh, he just used the Ravage. So they do get the Tormentor for Desire, and that is a good shard buffed in the C patch as well. However, you lose the Tide, you lose the Ravage, you lose the mid lane tower. That shard is just not worth it.
No, it's definitely not, and I mean, it's a small mistake by Jibe as well, because he had his magic wand in his backpack and a healing salve in his inventory, so he would have actually had a, you know, bunch of extra stats as well as the heal component that maybe would have let him live long enough to get off another anchor smash, pop the pipe, and get the team joining in. But as we saw, that was not the case.
We're going to be looking towards Desire here as well. Vacuuming in, Void being used. They will force out the rotation on the Tide Hunter, and seems to be enough for Navi Jr. And Tiny's rotating as well. We might be seeing a fight here in the top lane.
Looks like they're feeling pretty good at this point in time to be able to go. And I mean, now that it's daytime though, Ravage or no, I'm still feeling like they might want to go. And yeah, there we go. Seneko smokes up Obey, although they're going to walk into Niku here and they see him.
Avalanche, toss in place. Tame the Beast being used as well. He's very low. Tree toss there. He's being healed up by the Warlock. Might survive because Dark Ascension's Eyes doesn't want to allow it. One Void will be enough, but Blink Out allows him to live. Ursa also TPing in just for the little bit of extra threat.
Wonder if they're even going to put a courier on top of that high ground cliff inside of the Dire jungle, because, I mean, you've already got vision advantage off the back of Night Stalker, and, well, now as well, you've got a ward there, a ward still up to the north side, about to expire, but you've just had a full understanding of exactly where Avulus are at all stages. Tiny lives through the first main echo of the game.
So we'll be getting the boomerang onto him as well, but not even close there for Avulus.
Nope. Just 1 point in Escape Act is so clutch, right? I'm honestly a little surprised we don't see more people pick it up at level 4. I feel like it has a ton of value. Yes, the second point in either Tame the Beasts or Impalement Arts is also really good, but I can honestly count on more than 2 hands the number of times that I've seen, you know, a gank that probably could have been avoided if you just had that 2 seconds of safety.
You know, people are greedy. They don't want to be saving people. Remember when Dazzle was in the meta just a couple of days ago before the C patch? That almost nobody went for the Grave early on. I only saw Saberlight do it a couple of games on the offlane. Everybody else was being greedy. That's how you play Dota nowadays.
Saber Chad, bro. That's why it's Saber Chad. Saving your boys. I'm not asking for it maxed out. 1 point. It's so value. I feel the same way about Enfeeble as well on Bane.
That is a... you can hear now from Danog's words that he is an old support player. Somebody who has played support 10 years in the past, maybe even before that. Because these new guys, they don't think like that, but...
Riddies knows what's going on. Good use of that
Menards. What's up? Getting the Roche very low, and they're unsure if they want to fight this. Into a Ravage, into a Golem, you probably can't just run in, so they just will be going into the hands of the Ursa.
Honestly, a little surprised that they didn't choose to take that. I mean, you knew that they didn't have Echo Slam, and that's the real damage component that you're worrying about. You know, Ursa needs to make a decision about whether to finish Roshan or whether to fight. He's obviously a huge damage source at this stage, but maybe just a little bit of a missed opportunity, considering you do have Guardian Greaves, Veil, great place to be able to use the Wall of Replica around the Roche Pit as well.
So I feel like the thing that dissuaded them was no Dark Ascension. I think that's where they drew the line. Okay, let's just not do it.
Yeah. Even PMA walking up to that top creep wave to use the Guardian Greaves on it, just to get that little bit of extra attention. You know, you can see that Snako nearly dying, actually, to a creep wave. You can see that they're probably wanting to make something happen on this bottom side of the map on Avulus, right? They've got the Blink Dagger on the Ursa. You've got 4 minutes left on the Aegis. They want to try and take this tower if they can. Especially, they would have seen the Elder Dragon form be popped, so maybe it's just the waiting game now. Wait for it to expire. Yes, you're going to be going up. Oh, never mind.
Kill him. Escape Act is available. Dark Ascension being used. Double silence.
Great ult.
Avalanche, and look at that Wheel of Wonder. Mobe will be taking so much damage. Ursa with him as well. Zayat will be finding the supports. Golem will be dropped. Zibe needs a great position to use a good Ravage, but the thing is that the fight is split. He will be using it now only defensively, it seems, as the Ursa is running away. You've lost the Aegis, you lost another core as well, and Zayat is just giving perfect vision over these supports. The question is, can a Navi Junior chase? Do they even want to?
I mean, I'm sure they would if they got a super easy one. They've still got that Tiny to be able to play around with. But again, they're going to be satisfied. No Rock, no Ravage, no Echo Slam. Got rid of the Aegis. Like, what more could you possibly want? And this net worth lead is continuing to grow off the back of some really solid plays coming through from Niku. But more importantly from Riddies. He was the MVP of that last team fight, right? The Escape Act to be able to save the Dragon Knight from getting jumped onto. And then the perfect Wheel of Wonder just to lock 2 people in place on the escape.
He is doing a great job, really. And at some point, Avulus are going to have to think about how to address him. The problem is, yeah, they do have some blinking heroes, but I don't think they necessarily have good backline heroes. It has to be some weird move from an Ursa to find an angle, and it's just not super easy to do.
I agree entirely. Like, this is what makes that Night Stalker hero so good, is that you can get onto the backline so easily. Now he's got Blink Dagger as well on Zayat, so it just becomes easier and easier for them to be able to find the right target and quickly burst him down. The combination of Ion Shell Night Stalker plus Crippling Fear plus Void plus Tiny Blink Avatos combo, anyone dies.
Well, now they have nighttime. They don't even have to be relying on that Dark Ascension. They saw the Warlock for a second. He is sending his courier there, but seeing the Ursa is much more important. Smiling Knight, no BKB just yet. And he's not getting out of that silence. Really no way to survive this 3-man rotation, especially with help of those Ion Shells as well.
Didn't even move his courier, Seneko. Right on top of an Observer Ward. Very, very surprising considering how Smiling Knight just got jumped. And this is what I was talking about with that lack of cohesion that I feel is going on here. Could probably say the same about Zayats, but the rest of the team are confident that they're going to be able to back him up here with Niku. Able to just give that little bit of extra damage that he needs to potentially secure things.
Oh, that was so nicely done. You think you're safe with the sharpshooter up the hill, and then suddenly a Night Stalker is flying towards you. Beautiful spell usage from the Tiny overall, considering he didn't have a blink.
I gotta ask this from you, Harry, because I don't know the answer. When is Seneko going to use the Black Grimoire? Because I feel like Warlock's strong point is that early period around, you know, your level 6, level 7, and he's got 3 charges on it at level nearly 10, and it's just giving him 0 value at this point.
I don't know. I don't know, because I've seen people use it for level 6 and use it for level 10 in games that are going a little bit worse. And he hasn't done either, so I can't say that I've been in this situation that I see him right now. I guess when he gets bored, right, gives up on his teammates, just goes back to the base, goes for a nice read. That's the so to relax, not to accelerate his game at all.
because it's not that much stronger than it used to be, right? Like it gets relatively weaker the later it goes on. It's just a flat 250 XP, which, you know, if he used it now, he's not even going to get a full level. So maybe you might think that he's going to wait for level 12, but even that isn't a huge power spike for a Warlock.
Nope.
Cooldown
But
stays the same.
it's the it's our best bet right now, I think, is level 12, right? So let's go with level 12. We're gonna agree on that, I guess.
We're talking about BKBs previously as well, and Got the Juice has one, and that's what gives him the confidence to be able to stand. Not necessarily alone. Riddy's once again in really good position on these backlines, and he's even got a Yule Scepter. So not just for himself, but if he is able to get in there with the Tumbler's Toy, with his Carnival, what is it, Carney Classics, just to get that extra little bit of a hop in there, you might even be able to disrupt an Ursa in the middle of these team fights when he's got that enrage popped.
We'll see if he'll be able to do it. But at the moment, this game is looking very hard for Avilis. So I didn't want to throw you under the bus this much, but what's the play? Like, what do you even do as Avilis right now? I mean, maybe they can pick off Ridis, fine, but even that's a maybe.
To me, I'm just thinking of, like, what heroes can actually die. And to me, that's probably Night Stalker is the one that you're wanting to be focusing on. But Zayats isn't afraid at all. He's just diving in onto the enemy mid laner, and they're going to get a pretty easy kill as well. Looking for more as Niku with his haste rune, but won't be able to find anyone just yet.
Just the two supports killing him. It's just so easy for them to ward right now. I wouldn't even be surprised if Navi Jr. buy an early gem. That is how much in control they are.
Yeah. Both them and Capybaras did that in the first round of the upper bracket, so I'm a little surprised as well that we're not seeing just a little bit more proactiveness. I guess Smiling Knight might just be waiting for that BKB to come up, and they did take the Tormentor really soon after it was available, so maybe even hoping to get lucky with another incredibly solid Aghanim Shard. Like, Tide's already got it, Hoodwink's already got it, so honestly, Shaker having it wouldn't be the worst.
At least Ursa has his BKB, right? And that can change things. Finally, the Crippling Fury is not going to be that big of an issue. You have a 4-staff on the Warlocks, so some ways to keep your heroes safe at least.
Debating with Got the Juice in this mid lane. Oh, there's that gem you were talking about, and, well, nice use of the Crippling.
Get outplayed, Zibe. They might even toss him back. They don't have the Crippling Fury, that would be a bit too dangerous.
TP actually coming out from Smiling Knight here. If they look, they can see that he doesn't have any TP in his inventory, so might give them an idea to be able to just keep pushing down that mid lane, or they know that he's isolated, no way to escape, and that's why Nico's just running in headfirst.
Like a madman, the tree toss will be missing. Smiling Knight will be
Found
found
him.
here. That's a 9-second
BKB.
BKB out of the way. Atos being used. Desire wants to go through the defender's gate. Should be successful. Impalement arts off the mark. In the end, it's still a victory. No BKB.
Yeah. Your position 1 BKB for your position 4 ulti, you take that every day of the week, and he's going to even use it to its fullest potential, right? Go around any sort of cliffs that might be available, just so he can use that Gem of True Sight to get a couple of free D wards off. And what this has also done is it makes Ursa feel a whole lot less confident about taking this Tormentor. So we were talking about how important it's going to be for them to just continuously build those up on the Ursa would be the absolute ideal, but Earthshaker, Warlock still yet to get their Aghanim Shards, and well, they're probably going to get it taken away from them if Na'Vi move quickly enough, but you can see from Avilis, they're not willing to sit back and let that happen.
Yeah, we'll have some of their big items, big ultis, BKB now on the Shaker as well. The support kill duo is going for it, but they will find
it's
the
2 for 1.
Tiny
Look
on
up
the
top.
other side. Oh, vacuum wall onto the 4 of them. Amatos combo. Niku turns around with his BKB. Mobe has to pop his just to live. The MA will be targeted by Smiling Eye, but he doesn't have that nullifier just yet. But they do have an Atos. Sticks at this point will not help you live. So Neko doing a good job keeping them at bay, but now the Ursa is low as well. Niku just fighting them on his own, waiting for the Dragonite to join in. Zibe with a TP out will be surviving, but still another victory for Navi Jr.
That one was a bit better, right? Like, you have the Warlock hiding 2 people off to the side, and it's a pretty perfect Ravage as well, but the follow-up just isn't there, you know? Earthshaker forced to, again, use a pretty useless BKB. It's down to 8 seconds now on him, as well as Ursa's down to... Oh, he didn't use it another time, but that's just because he died. So 1, 3, and 0 on an Ursa 27 minutes into the game is not the position that you want to be in.
That's a pretty bad one. The second Roche is kind of your timing when you should be overtaking the game, crushing everybody. But I don't know if they can even contest it once it's up, and it is going to be up soon.
It is right now. That bug. It's so it's so fun to see the old observer bug with Roche.
See? They don't want to go into it just yet. I mean, maybe wait for nighttime. Maybe kill Zibe first.
Can they, though? I feel like he's probably the one that they are going to have a tough time killing. It's just going to take far too long. It's going to now enable the rest of the team to be able to get there. Don't have any vision up on this top side, so they don't know that Smiling Knight is still hanging around this area, and he might actually go and take the Tormentor on his own.
Well, that Ursa is pretty good at. And his armor from the Tide, and yeah, he's going to be able to do it. Now, let's see who's going to be getting lucky. Seneko, not the best one, not the worst shard either, so still fine.
Don't think I've seen him channel upheaval this game so far. He's just always priority number 1, it seems. Zayat's getting on top of him at every opportunity.
Desire is lucky to be alive, but Roche, however, he cannot move and get lucky. You're always going to know where he is. Bottom lane now, 28 minutes into the game. Mobe running around, is trying to get scraps of farm. Are you going for an Axe now on the Shaker, or are we going to be seeing something like a Kayasha coming out from it?
I probably just still want the Axe. Hold on, Ready sees him? Okay. Just ducked into safety for a brief moment, but Niku, he doesn't have a blink dagger just yet.
Pop it, Mobe, do it!
Nope.
Okay, then you're gonna die. That's just how it goes.
At least he dies on that side of the map, right? Like,
True.
They can't immediately take an objective afterwards as, what's going on here? Zayatsi sees, potentially, the Ursa, who's forced to use another BKB.
Okay. I mean, the lanes are being shoved in. At least with these BKB force outs, kills and whatnot, they can't go high ground necessarily on Navi Jr. But can they at least control the lanes now?
I don't know. I feel like they can probably just go mid, right? Like, Dark Ascension was popped, sure. They might wait that 15 or so seconds until it's nighttime again, just for Zayats to be able to not feel worthless in a lot of these engagements. He's holding onto a lot of gold as well on the Night Stalker. Actually went away from the Ghost Scepter into a Sange that he's looking to try and build for himself. So, wonder if he is going to build, you know, incredibly greedy for himself, or it's even... You wouldn't Abyssal Blade on Zayats just to be able to prevent these BKB TPs away, would you?
I would, right? I'd get very annoyed. I get personally very annoyed when I'm watching games and then people are getting away with it. But, so I feel like if it was an SNY, if he already made the decision, that he would have queued it up already.
Yeah. I've got an idea of where Seneko is, and yeah, see you later. Or maybe
Staff? It's not going to be good enough. He's only put even his teammates in a very uncomfortable spot when they're being used. It might not have been on point for Desire, but it is still going to be a dead squirrel in the push to follow. Avilas don't seem interested in fighting this at all.
I mean, the supports are already so poor, and you would hate to have to buy back again. He is still holding the Black Grimoire, Harry. What is he saving it for? He's level nearly 15.
At this point, I don't know. Maybe he's even forgotten about it. They do want the Tide Hunter, getting the toss in with the supports being dead.
Nice.
BKB and the Echo Slam might be enough for this one. Got the juice. He still has the Aegis. So they will be bringing down the Tiny. Looking to work. He's got the juice. Who's saving his BKB. Will die now with the Bushwhack being used.
They've got the...
You have the Golem dropping it on not too much. Keeping Mobe at bay. Beautiful usage of the silence there in the backlines. Mobe still wants to go forward, but they don't have the vision. They will be bringing down Zayas. That gem on the ground. A little bit too long of a push from Navi Jr. will get punished.
And there's a lot of creeps inside the base as well, nearly getting ready to hit tier 4 towers. Even that Roshan's banner keeping them perfectly healthy. So someone's going to need to get back pretty quickly, and they're not going to be able to follow up on this. So 2 buybacks for 2 kills, on a core and a support. It's not amazing considering you traded your own for it. And basically the net worth situation is the exact same as previous. You see there the big difference though, right? A great Echo Slam coming out from Mobe, really showing that the damage potential is there. But this is the first time that's happened in 32 minutes, whereas we've seen Niku make play after play after play, and that was really his first slip-up.
I feel like Navi Jr. now are going to be thinking like, yeah, we don't care about the Tide, we only care about the Shakers. So it's probably going to be the Night Stalker focusing more on the, even more on the Shaker than he has been throughout the game. Because now you know that that is basically who's going to be turning the game if it does come down to it.
Harry, why does Snako have a Midas? It's 18-5, and he's got a Midas and an Ags queued up. The Ags, I understand.
He knows he's not winning this game in the next 10 minutes. He's winning it in the next 35 if it lasts that long. And I don't know.
Big if.
Yeah, a big if, especially because there's a big-ass dragon that is taking down your second laner Ags. They're going to be going for him, using the anchor toss on the Ursa. He's already lost so much HP, he's gone. What?
Just perfect combos by Reddy's there. Just back to back to back, hitting with the fear, hitting him with the stuns, hitting even a 3-man wall. And
now you can just go forward. The Echo Slam will be used, pretty much not doing anything. They're gonna try to do some damage to Niku. Avalanche onto the 2 heroes. Mobe protected by his BKB, but he doesn't protect you from the physical damage.
Stamina fountain.
He is just going inside. Will be killing Soneko exactly there. Not really getting to use his Midas all that much, is he? Sending Zayats in with the escape pact, and that seems to be the only way that you kill one of Navi Jr.'s heroes if they get betrayed by their own teammates. That is a very clean game coming out from Navi Jr. And I think it comes back to that Darkseer just having a free time. He just enabled everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I understand the picking the Warlock into it. I understand that it's going to prevent your lane from getting shoved in and causing you a lot of distress, but it also really didn't address what we were considering in the draft, right? Like, you just pick a fast hero that can pull waves, that can set yourself up for success. It made sure that he got a bunch of early levels. Zayats made a ton of stacks as well that allowed him to just sit in the lane and get an early level 6. And I thought Niku did a better than expected job in that mid lane as well. I'd probably give him my MVP just because he was everywhere. You know, PMA did a fantastic job, of course, but he was really the enabler for Niku in my eyes. And that was the main difference there, is just the pure damage that was being output by this Tiny versus what Mobe on his Ursa was able to do. What was the difference at the end of there? I think it was like 10k difference in damage.
Ursa did 10,000 damage, so Ursa didn't do any damage, basically. But yeah, it wasn't that long of a game. Niku did 25,000. He was basically the one doing most of it. The game. And yeah, you're right. Mobe with 15,000, that's the difference. Overall, though, Danag, after what you have seen in this game 1, what are your hopes for Avulus?
No more Warlock for Soneko. He's banned from being able to play it, because I've seen him play it twice now, and it has not worked out either time. He still didn't use the Grimoire by the end of the game, Harry. You're like, this is... Why are you picking the Facet, basically, if this is the way that it's going to be going down? So, yeah, that's going to be priority number 1. It's a strong hero, don't get me wrong, but sometimes some players just don't vibe with the hero, and I think that's the case for Soneko.
Does make sense, which is weird because he is pretty awesome with the Winter Wyvern, but it seems that the Warlock just does not suit him. That is going to be game 1. Of course, it is still a best of 3 series. It's not over for Avulus, but they need to get their head back into the game if they want to continue their road towards DreamLeague Season 6. But for now, we are going to be allowing them to take a 10-minute break, and then we'll be back once game 2 starts.
For auld lang syne, my Joe, for auld lang syne, we'll tak a cup o' kindness yet, for auld lang syne.
There were 2 little sisters a-walking alone, hey, the gay and the grinding. 2 little sisters a-walking alone by the bonny, bonny bowls of London. and the eldest pushed her sister in. Hey, the gay and the grinding, pushed her sister into the stream by the bonny, bonny bows of London. Oh, she pushed her in and she watched her down. Hey, the gay and the grinding, watched her body floating down by the bonny, bonny bows of London. Oh, they laid her out on the bank to die. Hey, the gay and the grinding, for with the fiddle came riding by the bonny, bonny bows of London. And he made some strings from this yellow hair. Hey, the gay and the grinding, made some strings from this yellow hair by the bonny, bonny bows of London. And he made fiddle pegs from a long finger bone. Hey, the gay and the grinding, made fiddle pegs from a long finger bone by the bonny, bonny bows of London. And he made a fiddle out of her breastbone. Hey, the gay and the grinding, sound would pierce the heart of a stone by the bonny, bonny bows of London. But the only tune that the fiddle would play was "Ho, the bows of London." The only tune the fiddle would play was the bonny, bonny bows of London.
Where the wind can cut you like a knife, and nights are colder than the purser's wife, sir, do we dream of sunny skies of blue and sipping on some fancy foreign brew, sir? No, sir, no. We long to sail where greyer English skies prevail, and we would face the wind and snow and hail for just one pail of good old English ale, sir. Just one pail of good old English ale, sir. Did we choose to fight the foreign foe for England's glory? We must answer no, sir. An English ale house, that's where we would be, not dodging cannonballs upon the sea, sir. We're only risking life and limb because old England's too far to swim. But we would chance an iron arm or leg for just one keg of good old English ale, sir. Just one keg of good old English ale, sir. Many days and many lonely nights without one woman hoving into sight, sir. Now it won't be long until we see our wives and sweethearts lined up on the quay, sir, with their arms all open wide. But we will push them gently aside, for they will have to wait for us until we've had our fill of good old English ale, sir. Had our fill of good old English ale, sir.
Come landlord, fill the flowing bowl until it doth run over. Come landlord, fill the flowing bowl until it doth run over. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. Tomorrow we'll be sober. Here's to the man who drinks strong ale and goes to bed quite mellow. Here's to the man who drinks strong ale and goes to bed quite mellow. He lives as he ought to live. He lives as he ought to live. He lives as he ought to live. And dies a jolly good fellow. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. Tomorrow we'll be sober. Here's to the man who drinks water neat and goes to bed quite sober. Here's to the man who drinks water neat and goes to bed quite sober. He fades as the leaves do fade. He fades as the leaves do fade. He fades as the leaves do fade. That drop off in October. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will many, many be. For tonight will many, many be. Tomorrow we'll be sober. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and goes to tell her mother. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and goes to tell her mother. She is a very foolish girl. She is a very foolish girl. She is a very foolish girl. She'll never get another. For tonight will many, many be. For tonight will many, many be. For tonight will many, many be. Tomorrow we'll be sober. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and comes back for another. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and comes back for another. She is a boon to all mankind. She is a boon to all mankind. She is a boon to all mankind. She'll very soon be a mother. For tonight will many, many be. For tonight will many, many be. For tonight will many, many be. Tomorrow we'll be sober.
And welcome back, everybody. The Dream League Season 26 close qualifier here in Western Europe continues, and we've got Avilis versus Navi Jr. If you're just joining us, Game 1 goes to Navi Jr. in a pretty dominant fashion. So let's see if Avilis has what it takes, if they have that old spark in them to actually take this game. Danog, how does it look from your perspective? Can they do it?
It's gonna need to be a big upgrade for them to be able to do it, to be honest, right? Like, first and foremost, like I said, no Warlock for Seneko. Don't want to see it. I just think it doesn't fit his playstyle at all. He's always been, like, a naturally greedier player, and I feel like Warlock just doesn't fit that style at all. Even something like Phoenix can be made to work in a greed way, just because you have such huge impact at most stages of the game, whereas Warlock, you're very static. You're not really moving around much at all, and you need, like... You need fights to come to you, whereas Phoenix can, like, make fights happen as well.
Do you think he is, he just can't wait, that he's an impatient player? Could that be the answer to all his problems?
He waited to use that Grimoire, and he never did. So I think it's not patience. That's not the issue. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I did like it as an answer to the Darkseer. Again, I totally get where they were going there, but I think there were just too many holes to be able to fix. And honestly, not that Smiling Knight did awful on the Ursa, but I don't think it's first pick potential. I want to see them flex it up a little bit more with something that doesn't just reveal most phases of their draft from the very beginning.
Yeah, I was very weirded out by that first pick Ursa. I can understand Ursas in some drafts. Maybe the idea is we're gonna pick an Ursa and then we're gonna draft around it, something that has potential to push towers and stuff like that, but they didn't do that anyways. But now it is going to be a little bit different in this game too. No Darkseer, so that does open up a Jakiro pickup for Navi Jr. right off the bat. But Avilis, now they get the hands on the Tiny. Desire was always known as a big position for a Tiny player, but do you think there is a possibility for a flex, or is this pretty much an exclusively position to Tiny nowadays?
I think particularly for Mobe, like this is going to be position 2, just because 1, he doesn't want Niku to just absolutely style on them again, and 2, it's probably his most played hero of the most recent metas outside of the Viper. Like Viper is his thing, but it just doesn't feel like a solid enough hero at these stages. And I'm honestly a little surprised, like, what heroes have slipped through? So Warlock slipped through, Jakiro of course did, and I think it is well worth an early pick. Anything else that's really jumping out at you that hasn't been picked up just yet?
Silencer is still in the pool. If you want it on Avulus, that could be another one. I always look at the big 3 supports right now: Jakiro, AA, and then the Silencer. Other than that, you know, it comes down to preference.
Tinker as
Sometimes
well.
we see. I don't count him because he's always banned, right? If it's just not fair. And even if you need, you can put him on a position 4. You don't mind.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there is a bad Jakiro game anymore.
No,
It's just always good.
especially when
got-
the Rubik is bad.
Yeah,
Awesome.
true. Yeah, it's just like, got a great ult, you've got Q, which is great at harass, you now don't have to choose between Liquid Fire and Liquid Frost. Yeah, shed cooldown, but who cares? And you've got one of the most busted facets in the entire game with the Ice Path second detonation.
I've seen
And the
people
double
go for
hit
the
for
double
dewarding.
attack. Yeah, with the other facet as well. When they nerfed the Ice Path one a little bit, people started focusing on the Liquid Fire one a bit. But it's
You
or
reckon?
twin
I don't
attack.
think it's worth it. I mean, you always have the twin attack. It's just that your attack does more when you go that fast.
Yep.
But I feel like its main purpose is dewarding. You know, just an instant bang bang, you're going to win every single deward battle.
We do get to see a Wind Ranger. Position 4 Wind Ranger has been making a reappearance in the past, let's say a month. Pretty much. I'm a big fan. I've seen some amazing performances from different players, and it's definitely in the Desire alley. I don't remember seeing anybody putting it on the mid lane, even though the flex is kind of there.
It's kind of there. The other thing is, in that first round of the upper bracket, Lelis styled on them with his version of the position 4 Wind Ranger. So I imagine Desire would have seen that and been like, oh damn, you know, we can make this work in a really good way. Great synergy with Atos, of course, and the new facet that uses, it's basically like a ranged axe culling blade, just with your power shot, feels incredibly good just to be able to snipe a bunch of kills at the very end. Especially when
It's
you've got a
not-
high damage core in Tiny already.
It's not like the Axe Sculling Blade. It doesn't go through freaking Grave and Troll.
Yeah.
It should. It should, of course. Be fun. Oracle ulti as well. I don't think they're gonna be doing that though. It'd be
Ooh.
kind of dumb.
Tusky Dusky. Haven't
They
seen him in a while.
preparing? Are they preparing maybe for a ranged offlane or something? Enigma is banned out. I feel like there's not much else left.
Even just considering what, like... Because Jakiros can play 4 as well, so I'm just seeing, like, is there a world where Tusk wants to go 5 with, like, a ranged carry? And I actually haven't seen too much of the Tusk lately. Have people been going back towards drinking buddies? Because in my eyes, it never
No.
should have fallen off. I think it was just giga-busted previously, and now it's still good.
No, people aren't doing it. I think people are just putting emphasis on the Roche and Tormentors, stuff like that, right? Where the tag team really does come in handy, rather than the. I think they always looked at drinking buddies as more of a save than a buff.
Good synergy with the Jakiro double hit as well, right? With the tag team double hit.
Yep. That'd be nice for a level 1 play. Imagine we see a core Jakiro. I mean, it is not impossible.
Weeha?
Overall.
He did it at TI6 Grand Finals, so anything can happen.
I still remember when we played some pubs. We were together in Ukraine, me and Kyle. I mean, we didn't party, but we would match versus each other quite a lot. He played mid lane Jakiro. A lot. But back then in the day, it was not even as good as it is now. I was surprised that we didn't get to see a Beastmaster overall, not banned in the first 2 banning phases. So really no surprise that it does get picked up. I guess now you pick a 5 and you even leave this Beastmaster as a flex between the 1 and the 3.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it's just going to be a position 3. Like, Beastmaster's
same
another one of
hero.
those heroes. Like, okay, That feels more like a Seneko hero, for sure. Just able to get a little bit greedier with farm. You're always a little bit more active. You know, you can go and make things happen on your own with your rotations. So this is what I wanted to see out of Avulus. Like, this feels much more like just a them draft.
Is this now just a Tide Hunter?
Yeah, feels pretty good to me.
Well.
So this is actually the hero that I was thinking in combination together with the Tusk as well, right? Like the ranged, and it's why I like Drinking Buddies. Him and Medusa just getting, 90 damage just for free at level 7 seems kind of nutty, but you know what? It's probably still not going to be the case. It's probably just going to be paired together with Jakiro anyway, and Tusk is just going to make an early rotation. You'll get some sort of tri-lane action happening. And yeah, I'm totally on board with the Tide Hunter that you're suggesting, especially with the Lifestealer being banned out. You know, the Monkey King's already gone, TA's gone, Lifestealer's gone. So unless they might just ban Ursa next, and then just go straight into the what do you reckon about like Drow into this? Like it's a lot of early pressure, which I do like when you've got Beastmaster and Chen and Tiny and Drow. It's a lot coming at you.
Tusk is a problem. That's just the thing. If I'm a Tusk in a game and I see a Drow, dude, I'm the happiest. He can have whatever he wants. He's dying. Like I will promise him at the start of the game that I'm gonna kill him 10 times, and I'm gonna make sure that I keep that promise. I don't know. It would be. I like it with their draft. I like it versus the other 3 heroes of Navi Junior. They kind of suck versus the Drow Ranger, but the Tusk is just a dumb hero when it comes to playing the Drow. He just makes sure that you suffer.
When it's a good Tusk game, it's a really good Tusk game, and the Drow certainly is that. I mean, another way to potentially... It won't even matter because they've banned out some of, again, the stronger, able to be left alone off-laners as... Okay. That's not too bad either. You can just always retreat back to the jungle and pick up a little bit of farm when Tusk does want to make a bunch of these rotations. But now going against 2 melee heroes in that safe lane, like, do you really just try and bully from afar? Like, the other hero that I was thinking of was maybe Luna, but we're not really seeing a ton of Luna these days.
I saw one, I think, yesterday, and it actually looked okay, right? But you have to rely a little bit too much on your Eclipse. For my taste.
Just something that just balls up and goes with Beast, Chen,
like
Tiny. I mean, it could be a Tiny 1 as well. It could be a Tiny 1 still.
Could be, but I like a Razor here. I would be loving a Razor for Smiling Knight or Mobe. I don't mind either, really.
Really prevents the Sand King from just standing there solo in lane, huh? If you did go a Razor.
And you mentioned the Medusa as well. So Razor or Medusa, those 2 for me are... there's the Medusa.
Feels alright to me. I mean, the one thing that I don't like about the Medusa is, particularly against the Gyrocopter, is that Gyro outranges you when he's got the flak cannon up. So that's the main way to be able to beat the Medusa, is just don't get hit by her. I know it sounds so simple, right? But... it is the reality of the situation. You just stay the hell away from her. It becomes even easier when you've got the afterburner and using the rocket barrage for people that might be diving onto you. And then you just flak, run away, flak, run away, flak, run away, and then slowly chip down that Medusa's HP.
I like Avalus's draft this time around. I mean, I like it much better than what they had in the previous game. I feel like we've got ourselves a 50-50 draft, actually. In this one, I can see the Medusa being really good versus all of Navi Junior's heroes. It is not perfect with Avulus, right? Especially in that time where Tiny's farming the Blink, Beastmaster is farming the Ags. Those things can be problematic. But and I'm also not sure how strong Chen is. But overall, I feel like this is a classic Avulus draft. If they don't win with this one, it's definitely going to be showing that Navi Junior are at a higher level at the moment.
For sure. I'm also kind of wondering what Seneko is going to do. He's chosen the Satyr Convert, but it's not really one of those creeps that you just want to send mid and like try and mana burn the Dragon Knight, because that's really not going to have too much of an impact. It's much more important just to have that mana regen constantly going for the Dusa in lane, as well as just making Sand King's life a little bit more challenging off the back of those mana burns.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be the case as well, that he is not going to be trying to to help the mid lane. I mean, generally, DK is going to do better than the Tiny, and I don't think burning his mana is going to help your case too much.
Definitely worth doing it for like a Spirit v Spirit matchup, for sure. Then you would send it mid, and because that can be the thing that turns the tide in that sort of matchup. But yeah, certainly not this one. DK, he's going to be A-okay with 0 mana, let alone, you know, however much he's got to play with. So yeah, I do like both drafts. I definitely like Avilus's better than their game 1, but I'm just feeling confident with how Na'Vi Jr. really just dismantled them from literally minute 0 until the game ended in game 1.
Yeah, that is definitely something that we're going to have to keep in mind as we get ourselves into game 2. Avilus, of course, this time around on the Radiant side, and Na'Vi Jr. Yeah, trying their luck on the Dire. Do you see any big differences between the sides overall, Danog?
Like Radiant versus Dire?
Yeah.
I actually haven't looked too in-depth into it ever since they made the slight change to the medium camp near the Dire tier 1 tower, top tower. Because that was an awful camp to have to play around with previously, but they've really opened it up a whole lot more. But I think regardless, like, hold on, is Shibe going to be okay? I think he will. Maybe. Yeah. Is Desire going to be okay? There's a lot of creeps following him. It's just so important to take safe lane towers just because of how many creep camps that removes from the farmable pool, let's say. Like, it legit takes, I think, 5 camps away from both sides. So it's good that there's not like that giga-busted cliff ward to be able to play around with, particularly on the Radiant side anymore. But there's still some clever places that you can ward to give you some less easily dewardable vision. So I'd say Radiant probably is still slightly favored, but not as much as previous.
That makes sense. We are going to be seeing a little bit of a laning switch up. They are going to be sending a Beastmaster to the bottom lane, and Na'Vi Jr., they saw this, so they're going to be swapping things around as well, from what it seems. Do you think musical lanes are going to be happening, or will everybody just accept the current state of things?
I mean, it's so much easier to do, especially with the twin gates, right? Like previously, it was whoever uses their TP first loses, because you're always going to be able to react to it. But I mean, PMA is still not going to like the fact that he's copped 2 mana burns from the Mind Stealer, and he had to use the 75 mana to use the twin gates. So he's coming into this lane not that healthy.
It happens. He's gonna have to wait for his courier to bring out that region. But generally, does this help Zibe's case, right? You're playing a Beastmaster into a Gyro and the Jakiro. I don't think it can get much worse than that. But then again, it's kind of bad for a Chen as well.
Yeah, I mean, certainly not going to be very easy with that flak cannon against all of the units that you've got. So when they're trying to make these early runs at you, there's really not too much that you can do to stop it. Honestly, even Jakiro, one of the better heroes as well, at just being able to do exactly what Riddies is doing right now. He's just 1v2ing them because of how strong that dual breath is. And it's really going to be interesting to see when Avilus feel like they can be the ones to get active and make the play. Because if they wait too long, Riddies is going to be level 3, and then you're going to have a really good amount of scaling from dual breath. Like, it doubles in damage from level 1 to level 2. You're going to be dealing with liquid fire or liquid frost, and then if you wait for 4, you've got ice path to deal with as well. So there's really not too many weak points for this Jakiro in lane. Maybe level 2 is the most exploitable, but not with this Chen Beastmaster combo. I feel like they're even weaker.
See if they can make something happen. One lane that is definitely going to have a solid time is the Medusa lane. I doubt that Medusa is going to be annoyed in any way. I just hope that Riddies does make some stacks for the Sand King especially. He's going to be needing those, because that's one thing that you don't have now in the safe lane. Speaking about the Sand King, he did have a lot of wand charges, so that's going to allow him to live, but of course, or rather survive, because it's this is not a life. Maybe with a power shot off the mark. Blood Grenade and a couple more hits might still do the job. PMA, of course, with the Burrow Strike will be fine.
Oh, I was tempted to go for that win run underneath the underneath the tower, but will he just throw off a random power shot here, just trying to snipe it?
Why not?
Or time to do it is gone, I think.
Yep.
That healing salve has given him most of the value back, so still gets knocked off at the very end, but could have been a whole lot worse. But yeah, this lane is going really well for the Dusa, right? I think this was the main thing that you were trying to change around, and have to wait and see how it's going to eventuate the rest of the game, because I feel like Got the Juice is going to be just A-okay with how things are going down on this bottom side. I wonder if that just means many, many more points in the Wild Axes just so that you can even look to trade anything against this Gyrocopter, because the Call of the Wild Boars give a surprisingly high amount of XP when it dies, and I don't think you can be doing that particularly for this lane, who, you know, they've just got such strong potential to fight in the early stages.
So far, so good, pretty much for everybody on the map. The offlaners are not farming that well. The carries are farming pretty well, and of course, the mid lane is kind of even. I'd say that this time around, this is quite good for Mobay, right? Okay, there's gonna be a couple of CS advantage on the DK, but it really isn't that big of a deal.
It's not that big of a deal, especially considering how strongly the DK should be doing in this lane, right?
Yep.
So he's only... How far is he behind? Let's say 150? That's not too bad.
I don't even think that's... Yeah, that's... Did you check, or are you a genius?
No, I checked. I don't care about number of last hits. I care about net worth.
You should have lied. Like, what the hell are you doing? That would have made you sound even more awesome. And but again, very slow starts to the laning stage. It goes to show that we might be in the Western European qualifiers, but it definitely goes to show that these guys, a lot of them, they do come from Eastern European school of how to play the lanes. Pretty safe.
Pretty safe for sure. And you have to imagine though that it is going to pick up a lot earlier than what we saw last game, just because again, like the toolkits, particularly on Avulus, really lend itself to just going as soon as you've got that level 6 on the Chen, for example. Then again, Navi Jr. isn't a passive team either. You know, Tusk wants to be making frequent rotations. Gyrocopter wants to be using his incredibly high early damage to be able to, you know, win team fights off the back of just raw damage.
See how it goes. I'm thinking that if this Medusa gets a little bit deeper in the top lane, that the rotation from the Jakiro can most definitely take her life. I mean, you mentioned the power of the Tusk and the Jakiro together. If they would storm onto this Medusa, it could be problematic. The Wind Ranger is not the best hero to really cover for you.
Yeah, the one weakness is really that Riddies doesn't have a lot of mana to be able to play with, so if he TP'd up there, might be able to get off like one round of spells, but that would be about it. He's actually looking to maybe intercept Mobay on the way to securing the power rune. So nicely done by him to just put himself in harm's way, making sure that this good lane for Niku goes even better.
Does leave the Gyro all alone though, right? And that is going to be ending his life. Gottages, he did have a lot of one charges to play with, and Riddius comes over. He's going to be doing his best to assist, and actually saves his life there at the tail end. Who's going to be saving his life? However, this is what you mentioned, only one round of spells, and from afar, Desire gets a kill shot. Gottages comes over back and says, you didn't do anything with your life. You will be remembered as a support who died for nothing. Both of them going down. Gottages definitely making a huge blunder.
Yeah, I mean, he was just far too deep, especially considering what you're going up against, right? The Penitence for the movement speed slow with the Boars comboed together. I think Jebe even deliberately timed them so that it was immediately after the flak cannon was used, so no quick way to be able to deal with those Call of the Wild Boars.
There's some stack stealing now happening. Mobay runs in, kill shot from afar, avalanche and toss, but they do have the stun from Niku. Shards are going to be perfect with 3 of them attacking him. Riddius is coming over to be the 4th one. Mobay not getting out of this one alive. They do bring in Zibe. They definitely want to punish this. Snowball being used just to cover the retreat of his teammate. Zayats will die so that the young'uns can live.
Alright. I mean, you end up killing the Tiny, but I think he got a decent amount of those creeps in the stack as well, so it's actually not the worst for him to be able to play around that. And again, you just see the importance of this Jakiro hero, right? Being able to get off multiple rounds of spells. That time around, he did have the 1 point in the Ice Path, so not just the stun, but also the additional damage that you get off the back of it as well. I almost wonder how Riddies is actually going to skill beyond this point, because he's put 2 points in the Liquid Fire and Liquid Frost. So is he looking to just
max it out? Yeah, I've seen that, or I've seen Ice Path at this point, but the maxing out of the Liquid Fire is pretty common nowadays.
Riddies, speaking of him though, he's gone a little bit too far.
If the DK can save his life, he's trying to take a breath there for the Ice Path. We'll use the dual breath as well, not really doing anything significant. So they do bring down the Jakiro, protect their tower for now.
Like I'm an advocate of 2 points dual breath, just because it literally doubles its damage from level 1 to level 2. That just seems like a huge amount of value, but totally get it if they just want to be prioritizing a little bit more on destroying objectives. I mean, mid tower's less than half already, so seems like that's the main priority for them, especially considering you have to look at what heroes Avulus have to play with, particularly with regards to their cores, right? They've already seen Navi Jr. rotate into their ancient camp once, so they know that it's likely to happen again. So it's really just about protecting that tower as much as possible.
Desire found, taken out, scouting a little bit of what's happening there in the jungle, of course, only farming, but he will be paying because of that. Then Invis room tiny, Mobay going towards got the juice. They did spot him there for a second, so they're gonna be fine. But that was a scary situation to be in for the Gyro.
Yeah, he only had three one charges, so probably would have died actually off the back of the level 7 Tiny, who's still hanging around this top lane for now, maybe just anticipating that someone is going to come and defend this, but they don't have the greatest vision up around this top side, and it's still nighttime for about a minute or so. So with the D ward that happened, that also spotted out that invis rune, they're going to have to back off, and this is pretty big for a Tiny, right? Just to not accomplish much for, like, let's say a minute straight. Like, this is where you should be trying to reach that blink dagger timing and have that huge power spike.
Hasn't really been able to get much ever since that invasion of Navi Jr. But despite everything, it is still a 1k goal lead for Avulus. Every single one of their cores is slightly ahead of their counterpart on the other side. So for now, doing well.
Very early Midas as well for Smiling Knight.
Oh, interesting.
Going to get a ton of value out of it. I mean, I guess he's just assuming that this is going to go late-ish, considering, you know, you've got a DK, you've got a... Hold on.
They go with the Hand of God, and got the juice in a lot of trouble. He's actually going to stand his ground and fight, trying to do as much damage to Mobay as he can. The Chen making sure that Mobay is not even close to dying as they send Smiling Knight forward with the ulti still going strong. You don't want to get turned into stone. Looking away, but it's not going to save your life in the end. There's going to be 3 heroes dead on Navi Jr. Getting ahead of themselves, thinking they can just so casually invade the enemy jungle.
Yep, and it really just goes to show why they put so much emphasis on Avulus of protecting that mid tower, right? Like, that's where these TPs started to come in from Smiling Knight and the rest of the boys, just to be able to provide those reinforcements, to not give up these stacks that you know are going to be made. Because, I mean, look at the heroes that they're playing with. Shibe, 4 points in the Wild Axes, great stack taker. You've got a Tiny, very great stack taker. Medusa, great stack taker. So you know that this is going to be a target for the enemy team, and I feel like they've responded to it very well.
Amazing, pretty much. I'm loving what they're doing, and now we're seeing a night and day difference of a Soneko Warlock and a Soneko Chen.
Yep.
It's not even close in terms of performance and impact. Desire.
We got the juice once again. Early
I
blink
think
dagger.
they got him with a toss back avalanche as well. Kill shot, not enough for a kill. Got the juice, turns around. Even with the strength strats, he's still gonna go down. Desire, focus fire to finish him off. Now Niku, his rotation is coming through. Roar not available just yet, but he doesn't necessarily know that. PMA coming back in, and yeah, now they do have the roars. So Zibe can go with that one. Snowball to the side. Zibe is going to be waiting for Zayas there on the high ground with Smiling Knight and Mobay being in the vicinity. Zayas can only hope to deny, which is not going to be allowed there.
And they're going to get a nice extra bounty for their troubles as well. Taking out this camp as Mobay, has he gone a little bit too deep?
Or maybe just baited in Navi Jr., who at this point don't have enough damage to play with.
Well, nicely done. I mean, this is just a completely different Avulus that we're seeing. Smiling Knight getting off to a much better start. Really, that reconfiguration of lanes is probably what's won them this game so far, right? Like, you just didn't want to be going up against that previous matchup. They've been able to switch it up a little bit, make sure that you are limiting as well the impact of the gyrocopter through, you know, frequent mana burns onto him as well. So, did we even see a cooldown in these previous fights?
I don't recall. Maybe he did use it because he was coming from the side, and we just didn't see it on the main screen. But it hasn't looked good either way.
3 levels behind the Medusa. Like, this is real significant. I know Medusa's got a Midas, so obviously that's going to contribute to it. But she's only had it for about 3-4 minutes, so a couple of usages out of it. is does not this much of a difference make. At least now Got the Juice has his Crystallis though, so he's going to have a lot more of that damage potential in these team fights.
It is gonna take a long time for him to finish off the Axe, though. This is not a position with the gyro that you want to be in. And usually you would have this timing where the Beastmaster doesn't have his Axe, a timing where you could punish your opponents. That time is gone. Beastmaster, he has his Aghanim Scepter. Navi Jr. have already expressed a problem with their damage, so I don't know how they're gonna be killing this guy. I guess it has to be the Sand King.
Yeah. I mean, that's the hero that we haven't really seen that big of an impact from to this stage, and I feel like that's about to change with Blink Dagger coming out on the courier right now for PMA, so it's just going to be a matter of clear out one more creep wave, get the Blink Dagger, which hopefully he holds in the tree line and doesn't just get it immediately revealed onto him, although he's getting tossed.
He might be holding in a tree line now. He should have it to get away. Mobe a bit too deep inside of the macro park. Can they take him down with the snowball keeping in place long enough to get the kill? But they needed a full macro park duration basically to take him out.
It's a big kill though. I mean, how much do they have left? Even using the epicenter there, so there's nothing really stopping Smiling Knight with these bunch of auras and the amp damage on Jibe from just sweeping across the board. No stacks, thankfully, for Navi Jr. that they're going to lose off the back of these movements, but they will probably lose this tier 1 tower bottom. They might even lose Roshan. I mean, sure, why not?
Are you getting this now for the Medusa or for the Beastmaster? It seems that Jibe has already opened up a slot, so I got that
I'd
answer.
give it to Jibe, yeah. When you're getting this early Aghanim Scepter, let him frontline. You know, you know you've got him backed up with a Hand of God, with a mechanism, everything else at the disposal as well. So, very, very nicely done by Avulus. We were starting to count them out off the back of game 1, but just goes to show that you've got to respect the playstyle that gets you to this point.
I mean, they've played, even beaten some of the best teams in the world with their own stuff, with their own approach to the game. Navi Jr., they're definitely not at the best in the world level, at least not just yet. You never know how it's going to be looking in a month or two, in a year. But overall, this game does look clean from Avulus, not gonna lie, and a hard one to get back into, at least in the next 5 to 10 minutes for Navi Jr.
Seneko gets a free Aghanim shard himself. Just again, this is where Avulus really shines, right? Just ball up and go. When you get those lanes in a decent enough spot, it just feels so much more coherent with their general playstyle. And so I really would be surprised if they're not going to be like right on top of each other at all times, but I feel like they're just going to be within arm's reach a lot of the time, so that they are able to, you know, change, turn around team fights if it's the absolute necessity. Because again, you've got the Hand of God to protect, you've got the Aegis to be able to protect. So the people putting themselves in most harm's way should probably be Zibe, and you've even got the Manta style on Smiling Knight, so he can start to get a bit of a ghost push happening off the back of that.
He is incredibly farmed on Smiling Knight. That butterfly, it's gonna come out in no time, really, considering that you have a Midas. So what now? What now for both of the teams, basically? Navi Jr., how do you delay this game long enough, and what are you even delaying for? And on the side of Avulus, how do you push this pretty much amazing lead that you've been able to delay?
Yeah, I mean, I think Navi Jr. just need to play a little bit of cat and mouse right now. You know, constantly dodge what Avulus are trying to do. The issue is that if they're just going to ball up, you're going to start losing tier 2 towers in the not too distant future, which certainly isn't the case that you want to be in. I mean, they still need Blink Dagger on Tusk, they still need Aghanim Scepter on Gyrocopter, they would like to have a Crimson Guard on PMA as well, and a BKB on Niku. So they're about, let's say, 4 minutes away from being able to pick up at least a few of those items. But I don't think the Avulus are going to give them that sort of window to do so. This 2.5 minutes of the Aegis is going to be so vital as to the outcome of this game.
Well, let's see if Navi can do something about it. As you mentioned, 2.5 minutes remaining. Once the Glip does end, they're still going to be getting this tower. Looking towards Zayat, toss back. Very nice positioning from Mobe. This is what happens when you play so much Tiny. All the little positioning things you can do right, and tier 2 will be taken out. Do you even poke at high ground here? No, you don't. Oh,
Seems
you
like they want to try and... It's just Riddies, though. I'm not sure if this is worth going all the way back for. I mean, maybe they just didn't want to lose their own tier 1 tower, and they feel confident enough pushing up into this high ground with no supports to have to deal with. Maybe the haste rune, it certainly makes things a whole lot easier, I suppose, to be able to very, very quickly rejoin the rest of the team.
Want the glyph so hard here, but another wave will be coming fairly soon. Probably time to still bail and then go towards the mid lane. I like it that they are setting up for the mid lane right now. They didn't force out the glyph, but they got a kill and can still get this tier 2 down as well.
And some of these auras are really starting to get out of control. You've got Mech, you've got Vlads, you've got, I think, 4 different auras on some of these creeps. You've got Inner Beast, of course.
It's it pretty much looks easy, right? How do you even stop it as Navi Jr.? Because Avilus, they can play with one arm. Right now, they don't even have to be focusing. Just from a tower to tower, they go. And they're getting everything they need.
But they do have a few of those items that we were talking about. So now you've got Nico with his Blink BKB. You've got PMA with Blink Crimson Guard. Don't quite yet have that Aghanim Scepter finished up for Got the Juice. He's actually farming very, very deep in enemy territory, but that's a smart place to be because that's not where Avilus want to be right now. They want to be pushing the advantage. They want to be constantly playing on the Navi Junior side of the map. So should be able to get it very, very soon.
He has the money.
Yeah, where's the courier actually? Because he's got all of the things. He's really just wanting to avoid it entirely, huh?
Yep, he doesn't know what to do, where to go to the secret shop. None of them feel safe, and pretty much none of them are. The bottom lane, you have a lot of Avilus heroes. Not any longer, though. But top lane, there is a ward in that secret shop.
He's just waiting for anyone to reveal on the map to give him some sense of security. And he's mindful to try and play near that top side of the map where they actually don't have a tier 1 tower as well. So makes it a little bit easier for him to play up in this sort of area. There's not going to be any sort of instant TP reinforcements coming through. But I mean, they have dodged out the Aegis without, losing high ground, with getting a few items for themselves, with getting Gyrocopter effectively having the Aghanim Scepter. Of course, doesn't yet, but shouldn't be too long.
Yeah, stopping the bleeding is always the first path to coming back. So what's the second one?
I'm not sure if they will be willing to wait like a full potential Roche respawn or look to try and fight around Wisdom Runes. Right now, I think what they just want is more predictability out of what Avilus are trying to do. If you can know exactly where they're going to be at a certain point in time, it's just so much easier to be able to set up these team fights, especially, again, if Sand King's able to get off a level 2 epicenter, it's huge.
Or got the juice. He has no idea just how dead he is. Now he knows. Now he's gonna be aware. And he still hasn't gotten a chance to buy that Aghanim Scepter. He even buys the full Revenant's Brooch.
Okay. Still only 500 gold away from the Ags. PMA... Is he gonna die as well? Okay. He's gonna be able to back off. But you saw instantly as soon as he got jumped, literally everyone else on Na'Vi just started running down their lanes and pushing it out. And trying to stall this game out a little bit further because you don't know where they are. Your vision right now is not amazing on Na'Vi Junior's side. It's just a couple of really defensive wards in the lanes, not revealing too much about where they might be moving around on the sides of the map. And honestly, those are very easily de-wardable ones as well if Avilus did want to just go ahead and buy a gem.
We'll see if they wanted this early. I mean, they could get it. I don't particularly feel like their lineup needs to control every little piece of vision, because I think that they're just all that strong. Zayats is being eyed here by Zibe. Power shot from afar, blink roar, and that is going to be a very dead Tusk. Well, okay. Nice Burrow strike onto the 3 of them. They're going to try and kill Seneko, who doesn't have a buyback, so Zibe will be next on the menu. No BKB, just get very close to it. Nico, however, he does have his. Macro power being used there to separate the fight, and now they might be thinking about going for the Medusa. Oh, no Stone Gaze any longer, but this should be good enough for them.
No Stone Gaze, but no BKB on the Dragon Knight, and no Epicenter used by PMA as well. So I was a little surprised at that. He was able to, hold his hand.
baiting them. Can Niku survive this? He's quite tanky with the
Oh,
force staff.
nice.
He's fine. That power shot probably would have taken his life now. It's just not going to happen. Sand King is coming back. Chen will
Got
be
a smoke.
alive in a second, though.
Suppose, but if you're getting that jump with a level 16 Sand King, probably still dying at this stage. I mean, maybe he just wants to wait for the Veil to be able to be picked up first, just for that little bit of extra damage, although he's walking into Mobe right now.
See how much damage Mobe can do. Of course, he does have the help of the supports. Again, power shots are constantly being dodged. However, once Zibe comes over, even through the Crimson Guard, they're going to do more than enough damage to bring down, I'd say, the most dangerous hero, Navi Jr. at this moment.
Yeah. I mean, Gyro's gotten a lot stronger ever since picking up that Ags now, and he's got the Revenant's Brooch, and as soon as he gets into that BKB, you're just a whole lot less concerned about the Tiny in particular, but I don't know, for now, I mean, the net worth is kind of closing in a little bit though, right? I think it was as far apart as 11k, and it's gone down to about 9 or 10.
Yep, it's but it's still close. But as it is not increasing, right? That's the main thing, and time is passing. So
Do they contest this Roche is my real question. Second Roshan with this big ball up and Zerg lineup, with Beastmaster, Chen, Auras out the wazoo, and you know that they're probably going to be there because this is what the draft does. It doesn't seem like they're going to be able to move quickly enough.
no, I guess no BKB on the gyro is dissuading them from any kind of attempt. So that's gonna be the Aegis and the banner. Do you think that's finally enough for them to knock on the high ground?
I think it is, and I also it's so hard for PMA to do it because the way that Avilos are moving is the correct one. You know, like if people aren't showing on the map, they're more likely to be on the outer sides of the map. As to be a little careful there, PMA standing right underneath an observer ward. So it's much more beneficial to be pushing out these side lanes as opposed to mid if you're on Avilos' side, just because it becomes a riskier prospect to be able to farm in that area. They're like, do they have vision of me? Do they not? What can I possibly do at this stage? And what PMA wants to be doing right now is shoving out these lanes, even cutting them if he can afford to, because he's still got buyback if it is, you know, an absolute emergency.
I want to pick your brain a little bit about this Medusa build, right? Because I can't say I've seen it in the past. I can definitely understand what he's gunning for, but for me, this is pretty much preparing for the later portions of the game. Just getting even more farm and I guess AoE damage, but it doesn't really give you that tankiness to that you want to go high ground that, let's say, a Butterfly or a Scotty would.
But do you feel like he... I guess the Scotty would be nice against the Gyro in particular before he gets into that BKB for himself, but I don't know. I just feel like you've got enough of a supporting cast on your backlines because, I mean, Mobe's been doing a fantastic job of being able to find those quick pickoffs at the start. It doesn't reflect in his kill score, but he's assisted in about 8 pickoffs at this stage. So, you know, if you're able to split up the fight like that and then just use the raw power that the Beastmaster and Chen auras and heals and everything, and Vlad's even off the top of that is going to give you, then I don't think you're necessarily all that concerned. I think you can just stand your ground and not care.
Oh, let's see if that's going to be the case. I mean, if he can stand his ground and not care, the damage output is going to be insane once he does have his Aghanim Scepter. Mind you, that was a level 25 talent back in the day, and you're now going to have it 27 minutes into the game.
Oh, yeah. Looking pretty good right now. Smoke being popped here. It's just the ninja gear on Jibe. Do they have any detection that will enable him to just blink super deep and raw? Don't think they do. He's even got his veil in his backpack as well, so hopefully for Avilos' sake, they fix that one up. Trying to find someone off to the side that might have been pushing in that mid lane, but again, who cares if Smiling Knight's able to just stand this deep?
They have to BKB to kill the banner. That just doesn't feel too good. Burrow Strike only onto the illusions. There's a Gale Force. Ice Path as well. Navi Jr. Kinda wanna take away the Sages. They got the Medusa lowish in mana, but the heals are coming through, so he's gonna be getting a lot of that mana back.
I wonder if you just drop the macro pyre, just to kind of push them back a little bit, force them to not want to commit, but Doesn't seem like they're feeling confident enough to do it. And I mean, Niku, he's well away with 25 seconds left on his TP as well. Wants to have that nullifier, so there's not that save potential coming through. They want a quick pick onto the Wind Ranger as well in dispelling that win run.
They're letting it go. They were fine with using the Dragon form and the BKB to kill the banner, so now you pretty much don't have a Dragonite.
Yep. Can TP back if he needs to, but doesn't want to. He wants to get that next big item. He is going to TP, but it's prior to level 20 as well.
Does have a
found
Violet,
another
though.
pick.
That's a toss. PMA, he cannot die. Roar was used, but the snowball safe, keeping him alive. Yule's on the Tiny, keeping himself safe for now. But they all jumped into the stone gaze. Niku just gets into stone immediately, and finally Mobe will die. Even with the Hand of God, it's not going to be enough to survive. Smiling Knight standing his ground, his damage output is very high. They don't even take care of the Aegis.
I mean, if I'm PMA, I'm very, very frustrated about that because the Deucer popped a lot, right? Like, she doesn't have a BKB, she doesn't have this big save beyond that, but she does have the Aegis still up for another 40 seconds, and he was about 2 hits from dying. He's still holding on to the Epi.
Into the backlines they go, so Neko will die immediately, and, well, Medusa to follow. Tiny did buy back, so he's a part of this fight as well. He's trying to separate the fight on PMA, waiting for the Medusa. They have a lot of stuns with the Snowball as well, no Stone Gaze, so maybe they can get him down. A lot of his mana is already gone, and once it's only the HP, he will be taken out. Mobe also caught first with the Ice Path, then with the Shards. He really doesn't like the cold. Multiple Force Staffs to keep him alive. He does have a Yule's Blink Dagger, will be available once the Corrosive is done, but Zayat will not allow it. He destroys him. Desire now inside of the Sandstorm, and another Burrow Strike will be available before he has his Force Staff, but will die to the Stinger. A beautiful fight for Navi Jr., and they've only lost the range racks in the mid lane after that bottom lane as well, so they're still in the game.
More than still in the game. That was a dieback on Mobe as well, so he's down for 55 seconds where they know he's not able to get back into this one. They're just going to shove out some lanes. Yeah, they lost 1.5 lanes of racks and doesn't feel that great, but what it does do is it gives you that extra injection of gold that you're really needing on Niku. You know, now he's got that nullifier coming out to him. Now he's got his level 21, so more attack range to be able to stay away from this Medusa, and when you're hitting, he's just going to be that much more devastating.
Nullifier, I feel like Navi Jr. are ready now to even go for the aggressive play, and I think this is where now this build of the Medusa might come in as a problem, because you're definitely not tanky enough, and I think they can kill him from 100 to 0. The saves from the Chen just don't really work on the Medusa all that well.
For sure. Like, it's all about health, right? And that's really not what you're concerned about as a Deucer, as they're finally, it looks like, going to be able to get this tier 1 tower. I feel like from the Navi Junior side, they just need to weather the storm for another, let's say 2 or 3 minutes, because you would love to have your level 20 on Gyrocopter for the extra 3 flat cannon attacks, and you would love to have this Satanic finished up, which I think is only 10 gold away. So you know that the Roar is going to be coming for you. As long as you're able to pop that Satanic in the wind-up for the Roar, the Side Gunner is going to keep you alive for that extra little bit that you're needing for Tusk to be able to, you know, get in and save the day.
Well, Desire will save the day by dying himself and not allowing the Medusa to be caught. They will use the Nullifier there at the tail end of his life. Got annoyed a bit by the wind run.
But not that much used. I mean, I guess the Elder Dragon form doesn't feel great to be able to use that, but much better to just try and draw this one out that little bit longer. Now you have reached that level 20 on the Gyro, so next big power spikes, honestly, they feel pretty good to go at this point, right? Like, there's nothing major that's going to be coming in the next little bit.
No, not really. I'd say that this is pretty much what they've been looking for the entirety of this game. Maybe just farm your buybacks before the next Roche fight, be a little bit conservative before that, and make sure that once it does come, that you can all come back and fight.
What is the buyback status actually looking like? Because Tusk, I think, was the only one to buy back in that high ground engagement that brought this game back to, it's not even level pegging, right? Like, you would still say Avulus have the upper hand just off the back of, you know, racks taken, slight net worth lead, but the tide is turning, and maybe it'll go a little bit more in Avulus's way once again the Deucer hits level 20. Deucer's now, I believe, got the Skadi as well, so it's a big power spike, particularly against that Gyrocopter with the Satanic to be able to have that Skadi.
Gyro shoving out the mid wave. The bottom wave is pushing in though, so this should be somewhat of a tell for Avilas that there is something coming their way. We'll see when the Roche does spawn, because if you're Navi Jr., you are hoping for it to be an early respawn.
Yeah, I'm kind of wanting Navi Jr. to be putting... I know it's important to have wards around that Roche pit, but even just putting a few onto this bottom side so you can find pickoffs like this one onto Mobe, but is he going to be able to do it solo?
TP out. Where's the Tusk blinking? Zayats? Can't get her in time.
It's on cooldown, unfortunately for him. 3 seconds away, but the lane is pushed. You're going to need someone to go back here, and that just makes your movements a little bit more obvious. It's going to be PMA doing it, because he's got the Boots of Travel. He can look to relatively quickly join the rest of the team. Actually, he just says screw it. He's joining the rest of the team. Lane be damned.
Needs to be there. This next fight could decide so much. If Avilas wins, that could be a nail in the coffin. But if they lose, Navi Jr. completely back in the game, they will be getting themselves a really nice position here next to the outpost. And you get that outpost, the buybacks from Navi Jr., which they don't have. It won't matter all that much. But the Gyro will have his in this fight if he's there just for 1 kill.
Whoa, what are you doing,
Gyro?
Gyro?
He has the BKB and the Satanic, so maybe he can heal himself back up. But the snowball save, it didn't allow him to attack. And of course, the Medusa are not going to be healing on her. Medusa is doing a lot of damage, but also standing in the macro part that does burn. A nice kill shot on the Tusk. That is the one who cannot come back. No way.
To secure this arcane room really quick on Riddies, but that was a really ballsy move by Got the Juice to be able to go in that deep. And yeah, like you mentioned, that snowball save, it was great to be able to save his life, but it just meant that they gave up all hope of actually winning the team fight off the back of Gyro standing his ground and fighting.
Now you have to let the Roche go. So, you know, it wasn't the big fight that we were looking for. This is not going to be game deciding, but still a small victory for Avilas, getting them just that little bit closer to potentially winning the game.
I'd say more than small as well, right? Like the Roshan's banner, we saw that the Navi Junior lineup were willing to pop a Elder Dragon Form and a BKB just to be able to protect the racks for an extra 30 seconds. Well, you're not going to have that luxury this time around. Probably not going to drop it for this mid lane, but top lane is going to be next on the agenda, and that's why there was such a heavy emphasis from PMA to be shoving out that top lane. There's still the tier 2 tower standing there, or do they even just try and go for tier 4s off the back of this?
They probably feel like they don't have to. And but of course, big deal. One thing we didn't mention: refresher shard, double roar in the next fight, double BKB for the Beastmaster. That is something to be afraid of.
Even just the movement slow and the extra vision that the Shivas is going to provide as well. Double Arctic Blast, so 8 seconds of 15% more spell damage taken.
It does make a difference,
Got a decent amount of it.
especially with
tiny.
this. Is it spell damage or is it magic damage?
The Ags?
The
Or-
Shivas.
Oh, the Shivas, sorry. Believe it's magic. Might be wrong.
Damage from spells for 16 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's not magic. It's just spell damage. Weird. I always looked at Veil as though we have a lot of magical damage on our side, but it can just work with any spell, like even the physical
Yeah,
damage
like it
ones.
works with Quill Spray, for example.
Yeah, makes
Buffs
sense.
that up.
The juice?
Got the juice. He is deep again.
Well, let's see. Roar. They do get the snowball save off. Stone Gaze
he's
has
gonna
been
get
used.
roared
Can
again,
he heal up with the second roar? He did use the Satanics from the side gunner. He's keeping him alive. They're inside of the macro part. He's somehow still living with the DK joining in on the fight, but finally he will fall. Medusa, they might only take his first life. And what now when you're 2 versus 4? And there's also a cheese.
Nice
Well,
ice
Nico is
pass.
going to be trying to kill them all before the Medusa is back, but he's still going to be doing a massive amount of damage onto him with the shock shot connecting. There's just too many trees for Nico to do anything about it. They're not getting close, and with the kill shot from afar, they'll get the dragon out of the skies.
Maybe just a little bit too far back there on Zayats' Tusk. I mean, I understand it. He's died now 9 times this game, but he just wasn't there until he got the save at about 20% HP on the Gyrocopter, and that just meant that, again, with this this BKB expires, that Eye of Skadi just really ruins your life in terms of the amount of healing that you're actually able to get back from that Satanic, whether it's activated or not. So it was a little unfortunate that wasn't able to get the full benefit out of it. Avilas looking to try and close this one out. They still have that Roshan's banner as well, and they do not have that DK that salvaged at least some of that team fight for their team for another 40 seconds.
Have the gyro back in 15. Junior, they probably think that they can still make something happen here. The banner is a little bit too far behind, but at least the range creep will be surviving.
Someone can try and aggro it. Oh, maybe.
Maybe. It seems that Avilis have given up on the push now. I guess they saw there, even with the double roar, even with Zayats being a little bit slow on the save, that fight was closer than you would have wanted it to be.
Oh, for sure. And they had the Aegis as well, remember? So, like, this is not a foregone conclusion. And I would have to say as well that there are some more big timings coming out. I mean, you just finished up a Butterfly now on Gyrocopters, so he might get lucky. He might dodge a few of these attacks by the Medusa that are going to be applying the Skadi. You're, I believe, 1,000 gold away on Zayats from being able to pick up an Aghanim Scepter. So if you know that they're going to be coming in onto your high ground, what better way to be able to, for once, start the fight in your favor, where previously that's just been Mobe finding that quick pick-off off the back of a Blink Avalanche toss.
Wanna curse this game a bit? We might be in for the long haul, Danog. 2 minutes later. Well, not saying, just saying that usually when you say that, teams tend to close it out quite quickly right afterwards. So let's see if Avilis will be able to do it. But the glyph was saved from Navi Jr. I feel like that's a very important part of their defense if it does come down to a push.
For sure. So is it literally just waiting for Zayats? I mean, 950 gold. He is using the gunpowder gauntlet, so no, like, GPM item that he's going to be holding for now. If they're going to make a move, it's got to be quick. This time around, I feel like Zayats is going to be playing just a little bit closer, but they got to do it fast because that bottom lane is still pushing in. You've got a double siege creep wave at least to be able to even it out a little bit. And I do like this movement from Na'Vi Jr., where if they found someone on the bottom side of the map, they can both kill them and cut the wave to be able to, not have to be on the ultra defensive, but they're not going to find anyone. So good reading of the game there by Avilis.
Oh, the Tiny did go through the twin gate towards the bottom lane, so this is
4 seconds
Mobe.
left on smoke.
He's fine.
You would have seen the Watcher get reclaimed as well. Do they see him? They do. He's right on the edge.
Him on a ward. Going through the twin gate, instantly blink, force staff out. He wants to get away. The Dragonite coming over, Nullifier being used. He has to yield the Dragonite. Here comes the snowball forward, the stun wall response. He did yield the DK, but I don't think he's getting out of this one. Has the Ogre Seal Totem, and with both of the blinks being used, they can't get on top of him. Look at Avilis now coming to punish. Zayats waving goodbye. He's not gonna get caught either.
They even used the BKB there on Niku as well, so they know that's down. They know the Elder Dragon form is down, and well, is this now Avilis' time once again? Although, never mind, the damage that they're taking is from the Tormentor, so that's fine. Smiling Knight getting a freebie for himself. Almost level 25 as well.
The Shard and the Medusa, though, not as useful now when... Oh, actually, it does turn people into stone. Okay, then it's still fine. But you still have a double roar, right? Last time it was the Refresher Shard. Now you do have the Orb onto the Beastmaster, the Cheese as well. Is there a possibility mid-fight that they can give a Cheese to the Medusa? I feel like that could be a game changer.
Definitely a possibility. Yeah, for sure. The old Cheese Pass, always a bonus. He's going for the Ag's Blessing. What's he got queued up after that? Is there something just waiting on the courier for the Dusa?
No.
Nope. He's waiting in the river, though.
Would you want a Blink in this game as a Dusa, or maybe he finally buys a Daedalus? I mean, it makes sense with him having the Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah, I'd be totally on board with that. I mean, again, I mentioned like how this game can become difficult for the Medusa if Gyro is just able to stay at complete range and flat cannoneer, so something like a Swift Blink would be nice, just to be able to, get into your most ideal position and then pop your Stone Gaze to be able to just chase people down, because you're not lacking in damage, I think, on Avilis. You're not lacking in survivability. But the Chen does start to fall off slightly, and I mean, there's not really any big power spikes that are going to be coming for him in the near future.
DK is level 25. He went for the Wyrm's Wrath effect during Elder Dragon form. People have been going for that one quite a lot. And if he gets this Black Dragon, that is going to be one tough cookie to crack.
Mm-hmm. Basically, we'd need to just kill him in the double roar, and then you've also got to be mindful of Zayats. Are they going to be able to sneak this Roshan, though, with the tag team? Could be a possibility.
Kind of fast at doing so.
Although, they see them.
Gale Force, pushed out, roar from the Roche. Toss back, they want Nico in the snowball save this time around, just in time. The first roar was used. Nice blink out from Niku. They're looking towards Zayats. He will be taken down most likely by the epicenter this time around. Zibe, he's in trouble. Refresher. BKB still has one more roar to work with.
They're out of juice.
Wants to come back, and they want to go on God the Juice. Lotus Orb a bit too late on him. Toss against snowball save. Not there in time. He will be buying back. They know it is do or die situation right now. Smiling Knight knowing that as well. Coming forward. It is. He needs to keep himself away, and in the backline, Zayat is going to be found as well. Nice toss back. Mobe just finding those connections. They have so many repositioning tools. PMA completely isolated. The Lotus Orb will not
this
help
one's
him.
over.
And Got the Juice is looking at them while they are slaughtering his team. Navi Jr. will call GG, and we are going to a decider.
Got the Juice just spent that last little bit of the team fight farming ancient camps, and total damage in that last fight, 20k in favor of Avulus and only the 6 for Navi Jr. So really, again, it did come down to being able to find that jump, be the ones making the initiation happen. You know, Mobe probably had a game he would like to forget in game 1 of this series, but this time around, I'd say he was MVP by far. Of course, Smiling Knight got incredibly farmed. He got like a 9-minute Midas as well, which is always going to, you know, help things a little bit, but certainly the one that set up basically every single team fight was Mobe on the Tiny.
Yeah, for sure. And even throughout team fights, having Blink, Force Staff, and the Octarine, he's just spamming so many spells and being very, very disruptive. You could see how Avulus understood that they don't want to be fighting head-on. Roar, snowball save, fine, reset, go and disperse. They disperse again, and they're just catching them one by one, never getting super clumped up together to allow for the Gyro, the DK, and of course the Sand King to do their job. So we are in a 1-1 scenario. Does this win from Avulus, that is definitely a draft kind of in the meta, but not something we see too often, is this going to be warranting a Chen ban?
Maybe not so much the Chen, but I think we're really going to see a lot of importance put onto that first pick overall, because so far Tiny's been the hero of the series. So both teams have shown that they're able to play with it incredibly well. And I would say that is probably going to be the main priority if I was in the drafting seat. But I'm not. I'm sitting here in Australia. These teams are playing for a spot in DreamLeague 26. And we'll see which one moves forward to be in that lower bracket final after a break. We'll be about 10 minutes or so. So be right back.
Quite sober, he's to the man who drinks water neat and goes to bed quite sober. He fades as the leaves do fade. He fades as the leaves do fade. He fades as the leaves do fade. That drop off in October. For tonight will many, many be. For tonight will many, many be. For tonight will many, many be. Tomorrow we'll be sober. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and goes to tell her mother. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and goes to tell her mother. She is a very foolish girl. She is a very foolish girl. She is a very foolish girl. She'll never get another. For tonight will many, many be. For tonight will many, many be. For tonight will many, many be. Tomorrow we'll be sober. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and comes back for another. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and comes back for another. She is a boon to all mankind. She is a boon to all mankind. She is a boon to all mankind. She'll very soon be a mother. For tonight will many, many be. For tonight will many, many be. For tonight will many, many be. Tomorrow we'll be sober.
As I went down to Galway town to seek for recreation, on the 17th of August, me mind being elevated. There's multitudes assembled there with tickets at the station, and me eyes began to dazzle. I'm going to see the races with me whack, fall the two, fall the tittery item day. There's passengers from Limerick and there's more from Tipperary. There's lads from Connemara and a flare of married ladies, and people from Cork City who are true and loyal and faithful, who brought home the Fenian prisoners from dying in foreign nations. With me whack, fall the two, fall the tittery item day.
It would be a bummer if this series would end in a 2-0. That's why Avilis, they got themselves together, they pushed back, and they are going to be forcing out a decider here versus Navi Jr. Here with Harry and Danog, and of course you're watching the Dream League close qualifiers here in Western Europe for Season 26. Danog, Season freaking 26. I still remember when Dream League started back in the day. So,
2013, was it? Like late 2013, I want to say? It was really early, back when it was held at like the various dream hacks that was going around. So yeah, I've been following it since the very beginning as well. Back in the old, was it Alliance or No Tide Hunter even back in those days where they were really the ones dominating?
Maybe even No Tide Hunter. Maybe even No Tide Hunter. I feel like they just took their name just before that TI where they won. But either way, we do have Avilis, we do have Navi Jr. Let's not reminisce about the past, but look into the future. Who's gonna be going through Avilis, Navi Jr.? Do you have your favorite?
No. Based off of that, it really just does come down to the draft for mine, because I was feeling so much more confident with how Avilis drafted that time around for their playstyle. So Tiny has not been banned. Tiny will be first picked. So this is the thing that I was expecting. So Navi Jr. They've got it. They've got it in the bag based off of this. Not to be that extreme, but it certainly sets themselves up for success. So I wonder if they're actually going to really early on pick like a tiny lane counter, if it's like a Monkey King or something like that. No, they just go Medusa again. I feel like this is a bit early. Plenty of chances to be able to counter her out now, surely.
But there is a chance for an offlane Medusa, right? So maybe that's the case. I mean, he did play the unrelated facet on Smiling Knight anyways, right? That's the one that people in the offlane go as well for. So who knows?
And Darkseid has been banned already, so no Wall of Replica, no normal punch, nothing like that. I'm expecting to see... It kind of goes both ways, but like any diffusal buyer, right? We know Zayats is happy to buy it on like a Pos 4 Ricky, but without the Darkseid, the Pos 4 Ricky doesn't feel anywhere near as good. Same sort of thing with like a Pango potentially in like the offlane or mid lane if this Tiny was to go 1, for example. So really, those are really the things that I'm looking at. Maybe even a Bane, to be honest. Like, it's not really a Giga-picked hero, but Fiend's Grip has the Mana Sap, and you've also got the Enfeeble, which is really nice against these big, like, 4 Protect 1 style strats. But then again, like you said, this could just be a position 3 Medusa, and you're throwing too many eggs into the basket, assuming that this is going to be the main core that you're needing to try and counter.
PMA is a big Pango player, though, right? So it's not out of the question that he plays an offlane Pango. And I mean, I've been enjoying offlane Pangos recently. Of course, there's the god of mana burn, Anti-Mage himself, taken out. Okay, I really am not a big fan of their opening. If things start going south, how do you make plays with this?
As long as everything else is active, I'm okay with it. You know, like, but what are the other heroes that can even be, like, something like an Ember Spirit wouldn't be awful. Like, it's kind of back and forth with Tiny, right? Like, you harass the Tiny itself, but you get a lot of denies against you. But I mean, Fatal Bonds plus Sleight of Fist feels amazing. You're a relatively low cooldown hero, feels amazing. Do you even consider, I mean, this is like Bet Boom style strategy, but Keeper of the Light, you know, just having something that keeps that cooldowns active, even a little bit of a pseudo save for the Medusa with the Chakra Magic as well. I feel like it could work, and you know, just building up stacks too is a useful tool to be able to have. If Avios was still playing, I think they briefly played with Sweden Strong, didn't they? Or am I misremembering? But you talk about great Coddle players, he's one of them.
I don't think so. I think he's been on one win for too long, and before that it was Level Up.
That was Eki, that's right.
Yeah, Eki, yeah. Now if I'm Navi Jr., I already feel solid about this. I think I would actually pick 2 supports right now. Just something, you know, solid in the lane. Jakiro is there. Why not? And then Zayat's whatever he wants to play. He tends to go for weird heroes. Yeah, that's the Ricky that you were calling out for.
But how good is it actually going to be, is my thing. I guess it's the similar sort of argument where you can just pick a core that you want to leave on their own and just use Ricky to drag. Because what is a Medusa Warlock going to do against a Ricky who's naturally fairly swift and is able to just pull lanes nice and easily? And there's the Pango as well that I was talking about. So most of the time you have a little bit of difficulty last hitting and doing all this solo in the lane. But again, if Ricky is just like doubling up the waves, if he's dragging behind, you're going to be able to leave him solo. And Ricky's going to be able to move elsewhere and make plays. So I quite like this. 2 Diffusal Buyers, a way to engage onto the back lines, silence as well, which feels really nice. Yeah, feels not too bad so far for Navi Jr. It definitely is their style of draft. And the only thing concerning me for Avulus, and I know it's only a Warlock pick so far, but that just doesn't feel like the way they play.
Huh, well, let's see how they're gonna be adjusting to this one. Beastmaster was banned out. That is the good one versus the Pango. One thing that comes to mind right now, can you get away with a Quap in this game or a Storm? Can you get away with those heroes versus the Ricky?
Versus the Ricky. I mean, if they did... What are you wanting the Quap for? Are you wanting it for, like, Sonic Wave to be able to stop the Pango roll, for example?
That, and crush the Tiny in the lane, pretty much. Both of those heroes do the same, and neither of them are gonna get picked. It's an Earthshaker. I can't say I love this.
Didn't work out too well in the previous. So...
And it's similar, right? It's not the Crippling Fear, but it is gonna be a smoke screen. And Primal Beast I'm fine with, right? It's solid versus the Pango. Not something that's super popular currently, but gets played from time to time.
Mm-hmm. What do they want here? Like, can you afford to go... Like, this is a pretty good Oracle game for Navi Jr. Fate's Edict for the... I know, but against Primal Beast, it's pretty godly, right? Like, you can Fortune's End the charge, you can get rid of Fatal Bonds, you can have magic immunity versus the trample. Feels pretty amazing to me.
Yeah, we'll see if they're gonna go that route. They go Morphling.
Sure.
Okay. I'm fine with this. It is a great hero to lane into a Primal Beast. When Primal Beast came out, Morphling and the Faceless Void were the heroes that were pretty much being played every single game versus him. A little bit scared of it because of the Shaker, right? Because he sometimes can blow you up.
Yes, but I'm also not so worried about the Shaker because of what happened in that mid lane in game number 1. So whatever Avulus pick with their last hero overall, you would have to imagine it's their Desire hero. I just want it to be something that's able to rotate. And I guess you'll see what the enemy position 5 is. So, you know, again, you might even exploit the pulling potential if they don't pick a stunning pos 5, for example, or something that's able to dish out a ton of damage when you're trying to get these pulls happening away from the Morphling into the Primal Beast lane. But also I want something that's going to be able to move towards that mid lane and make sure that, you know, Earthshaker is able to equalize a little bit more against the Tiny, because Tiny's probably going to have a pretty good time.
So how did the Jakiro make it through this far out? Are they gonna ban it now? It just feels way too good for Navi Jr. Deals with a lot of their problems. Damage from the supports, lockdown from the support side, laning stage secure on the Morphling. The other one is a Silencer who would actually be amazing versus what Avulus have.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even if you're perfectly on time with it, you can stop a Chaotic Offering from being dropped. But it doesn't look like it. Looks like they want to get rid of A, saving supports, and B, the potential Constant Dispel, just locking the Primal Beast into position. So, Shadow Demon, not a bad ban, but I'm on board with you. Like, this Jakiro feels like it does solve a lot of the issues. I honestly thought it was already banned. That's why I'm suggesting a few more niche things like the Oracle.
Do you think there's a chance that Desire does play this Shaker? Maybe we see like a mid lane Primal Beast, and then Enigma is already banned out, so I guess that's not something that they can pick up. But a position 4 Shaker is not too out there, is it?
I mean, for pro players, no. I absolutely hate it. So I just feel like it's the biggest do-nothing hero that needs way too much farm on its own to be able to make something happen. And do you really want to be a support where you feel basically tied to your ultimate and to a Blink Dagger that may take just way too long to come online?
Well, they're gonna go for something a bit more aggressive, I guess. Crystal Maiden Morphling, that's a kill lane if I've ever seen one. They just want to run forward, Navi Jr. And if they get a whiff of weakness from Avulus in this game, it is gonna be just run, and kill everybody.
Could they AA here? I mean, AA can outrange a Crystal Maiden, and you can make Morphling's life a whole lot more challenging, for sure.
You will have 2 supports that Tiny kills, no problem.
Yes.
Other than that, it's a perfect pick. So I feel like you can get away with it. I mean, AA is quite established in the current meta. Might not be as a position 4, but it can work.
I mean, if it gets late enough, Ricky can probably even kill those people that we're talking about if you get into Diffusal plus, you know, things of that nature. Most of the time when I saw Navi Jr. play this Ricky, it was with a dedicated minus armor strat. So they played it with like, I think they had a Tide Hunter and a TA. Slaughter was banned against them. They had a Pangolier as well. So tons of minus armor on minus armor. But as for right now, it's really only the Ricky with the Aghanim Shard smokescreen and the Pangolier Lucky Shot.
That's pretty much it. But still, Ricky is a nuisance. There's no doubt about that. The more I'm looking at it, the more I'm loving your AA suggestion. Just make sure that you are kind of slow early on. But no, it seems to be a position 4 Shaker. I guess mid lane.
Hate it. Yeah, seems like that's the case. Honestly, that's not a bad lane at all. You know, just having that going up into the Tiny. Tiny's going to take a lot of harass. Kind of forces a little bit of these earlier rotations to potentially come from Zayats to be able to help out. So really just comes down to individual skill for the first, let's say, 3-4 minutes of the game for Niku, just to make sure that he's not in too bad of a spot. And then Zayats, once he's able to get a few of these waves pulled, once he gets his like level 2, maybe even level 3, start to make rotations around that water rune to make life a little bit easier, because Mobe should be in the position to have the time of his life in this lane. Shouldn't be close at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so as well. Though I did see this matchup recently, and it didn't go as amazing for the Slaughter as you would expect. You would feel like, okay, he's gonna demolish the Tiny, but actually Tiny went out of the lane quite okay. Didn't win, but didn't get crushed either, which versus a Slaughter, you would agree, does happen a lot, pun intended. But I still am okay with the Avulus draft. I just think that they need to be very conservative in the first 15 minutes. Don't allow this game to get out of hand in the first 15 minutes, and you are golden.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, I like both drafts, to be honest, right? Like, I think it's interesting, at the very least, to be able to see, like, how different teams see the game. I'm still not convinced by this Warlock being played by Seneko. Maybe it's different just because you are playing with a Medusa, someone that naturally is going to get use out of that Fatal Bonds in the lane as well, but you're really not going to be able to stop Navi Jr. from doing whatever they want to be able to, you know, pull the waves, equalize the lanes, and give PMA the good start that he needs to be able to, like, we now see that this is a Smiling Knight Medusa, right? And yes, he played it amazingly, but you're also very vulnerable to being specifically targeted by this double diffusal blade purchase from Zayats and PMA.
How do you feel about this undulation facet on a carry Medusa, right? Is it something that you think is just going to become a staple now, or is Smiling Knight just a guy who wants to play it this way?
Do they have a ton of slows? They got a couple, right? I think it's fine just to be able to basically not have to worry about boots is another good thing. You know, you're already moving at basically your full movement speed, and it means you're able to just sell them really
lanes
early.
Again, right?
Okay. Seems like it.
Ah,
Are they swapping everyone? Or
No,
is it
just-
going to be Desire paired together with Smiling Knight?
just the cores if the Medusa stays on the top lane now, because the Zebe's positioning has been revealed, so maybe you want to go back. No, they're not doing it. He's staying in the top lane, and Shaker Medusa that cannot be slowed down versus a Crystal Maiden sounds good to me.
Yeah. Also, the lane's going to be in guaranteed a very good spot because of Desire getting the Fisher block off nice and early. And this is what Zayats likes to do as well. This bottom lane, he gone a little early, never mind. Able to snipe that range creep, so it's going to result in the lane pushing into the Radiant Tower a little bit sooner with range creeps damage type doing a whole lot extra against creeps.
Okay, so talk to me about this bottom lane. How is this gonna go? A Warlock and a Primal Beast, right? So your thoughts, because you probably don't have a lot of experience watching this lane.
No, definitely not. I mean, just logically, it makes a lot of sense, right? With once level 2 comes up, Jibe will charge in with the trample, and Snako will be looking to use that Fatal Bonds, and it's a good amount of AoE damage that you're able to do, but you also have to consider that Na'Vi Jr. have a lot of movement abilities to be able to avoid just getting caught in the middle of a trample, whether that be Swashbuckle, whether that be Shield Crash, whether that be Blink Strike, which Zayats is using to pretty full effect right now to be able to just get a ton of harass in.
Yeah, he's fine allowing this to be a 1 versus 1. So how does it feel in a 1 versus 1? I know Primal Beast later on is definitely a counter to the Pango. How is he in a... We've seen this matchup in the mid lane, but in a long lane, does the matchup change much?
No, I don't think so. I think you just need to, again, focus on the attack damage differential as Zayats continuing to try and be a little bit sneaky here. He's got a Tango running as well, and one still left in the Courier. But yeah, I'm just seeing Jibe get like a couple of range creep denies that PMA probably shouldn't be letting happen off the back of, you know, having the double jump available and things of that nature. So you would have to imagine that both of these cores really like the fact that they're going to be left solo a lot of the time. You know, they're two of the best cores with early levels, and you know, means you can effectively play them kind of like a mid laner.
Yeah, pretty much that's how it goes. And so far the Tiny isn't doing too hot in the mid lane, but as I mentioned, I've seen this matchup and it's not 100% like that the Slardar demolishes it. Because when I first saw this being picked, I think it was like 10-15 days ago, I thought that the Slardar was gonna annihilate the Tiny. It's not as one-sided, but he is winning.
No, definitely not. He is, and I mean, just having that Seaborn Sentinel innate ability as well, you know, just making sure that you can keep the wave right in the middle of the water feels really nice too.
Well, the lead is increasing though. Mobe 5 CS ahead, and of course 4 denies. Niku doesn't have that when you're a Tiny and you are losing in denies. It does tend to hurt. But of course, melee hero, Slardar, at some point, you can make a mistake like this and get hit by the tower a couple of times. So, nicely done by Niku, finding an opening.
Yeah. Should still be fine. Got 2 Tangos left to be able to play with. They actually wants to try and man up a little bit against the Tiny. I suppose realizing early on that the Avalanche Toss combo still was about 5 seconds away from being used. So, really pushing the boundaries, but that's what you're needing to do if you're looking to try and fulfill this role that your team needs of you, and getting out of this lane in a really good spot.
A real fight of the 2 giants here. Niku will at least secure that he gets the flag bearer, but overall, once again, a very slow start to the laning stage. Really nobody getting close to dying. The Medusa is farming really well on the top lane, however, though, and even has a full wave close to his tower. Another one will be coming over. Beautiful positioning of the lane for him.
Yep. Looks like they'll just trade the water runes 1 for 1. Seneko was moving to try and make sure that they got the trade, and might actually die here to Zayats. Still has 10 seconds left on the next Blink Strike, so it should be able to potentially get away under the tower. We'll need to do some juking, though. Oh.
Fine. Zyre
Sam's
gets
not.
the first blood. Ridis gets taken away, and you picked up this CM to do well in the lane. Now let's see if the Morphling can kill him. Nowadays, people do not get the Adaptive Strike. It's just not worth it any longer for these Morphlings to do, so he cannot punish the death of his support.
Surprised, like, I get not wanting to put many points into it, but surely one feels nice, just to be able to, you know, get that last hit, to secure that range creep a little bit more easily and not have to use the waveform to do so. And yeah, you see Smiling Knight just immediately emoting off the back of a denied range creep.
I don't know. I need to talk to a carry player just to see why they are refusing to go for this. As it really does take away a lot from your burst early on, later on as well. I'm not sure if I like the build overall.
Yeah, carry player is not me. So
yep, unfortunately. But Smiling Knight has lost a big chunk of his mana. He doesn't have a wand for a Medusa. That's quite weird. But he is queuing it up. Meanwhile, mid lane, Niku is keep baiting in the starter who has 11-1 charges. Mind you, might even kill both of you. Avalanche has been used. Turns around onto the Tiny. No, Zayats finishes him off before Niku loses life. Now, maybe with the Fatal Bonds onto that Siege Creep, he can make sure that the Tiny at least dies. But Niku says no. DP away, survives, bottle refilled, and he will be fine.
Courier going down as well. Yeah, that is very, very surprising about the Magic Wand for sure, but how is he going to rush the Midas if he doesn't, you know, get a little bit greedier along the way? He's only about 700 gold away from being able to get it, so fairly reasonable timing once again for Smiling Knight.
More than reasonable. I mean, he's already 500 gold ahead of the Morphling coming out of the laning stage. If this laning stage even ends, I feel like the side of Avilis would, because of the Warlock, because of the Shaker, want to make their laning stage last long.
For sure. Also, just looking at Jibe, I mean, the fact that his phase boots on the Courier got destroyed by Zayats is actually a pretty big deal. You know, now you're not able to potentially go for solo kills onto PMA. Not that he would be in any real danger. He's of course got the Shield Crash, the Magic Wand, the Healing Lotus as well to be able to make plays with. He's actually the one taking the brunt of the damage.
I really like how Zayats plays this Ricky. He literally doesn't care. He just goes forward all the time. Look at that.
I'm sure Smiling Knight was wanting that that Wisdom Rune, but I got a feeling that Seneko overruled him for that one. Maybe this will be the game that he uses the Black Grimoire.
Maybe.
And once again, they have given him a little bit more of that farm priority, with Jibe being able to go back to the jungle and take some of these stacks that Seneko started to make on his movements towards mid. A little bit mistiming there by Mobe, so Zayat's not going to take a ton of damage.
He would have been fine, I guess. Anyways, Ricky is kind of a high armor hero, so you are generally fine. But of course, once the Slaughter gets his level 6, that is when it becomes very hard for the Tiny to come close. You get your level 6, you think, finally, I don't have 0 armor, and then bam, you actually do.
Yeah. He was brought to -2, I think, when Mobe uses that level 1 Corrosive Haze onto him. So yeah, needing to be very mindful, and I'm sure Zayats is probably just going to be playing where the Slardar isn't, and he hung around mid lane now just to be able to potentially secure that power rune, but luck was not on his side.
They are gonna be gunning for PMA. He has the Rolling Thunder. The question is, can use it? No, Shield Crash does not connect. Swashbuckle, Slaughter coming in, Crush is there, minus armor. Goodbye PMA. That was a really good Polarize. I think maybe if he gets his Shield Crash off, he can get closer to living, but no such luck.
No such luck indeed, and well, this is a big deal, right? Like, the big reason that you picked this Pangolier was not only that you can be somewhat sustainable in the lane, but you are that Diffusal Blade buyer, and if you're getting kills onto him, if you're denying, you know, big stacks that were built up to be able to take, then obviously that's going to be hindered fairly significantly.
Tough situation to be in for Navi Jr. when all 3 of your cores are kind of behind. Ricky is having a solid game, but he feels like the only one. Everybody else is gonna have to be playing some kind of catch-up at some point.
8.5 minute Midas timing this time around for Smiling Knight, so he's improving.
That's how it goes. Proving with his greed, though. They didn't even get close to punishing him not having a wand. That is what is the scariest part.
Love the fact that with the Spark of Courage as well, like he's always going to have the damage component active just because of how Medusa works, you know?
Yep.
You're not going to be losing your health until the very end, and to be honest, you don't really need that armor at this stage, being an Agi hero, and oh, hold on, these big dives.
Well, now he did get the shield crash off, but still, forcing out TPs, getting yourself away. If you're Avilus, you're not too mad about that outcome in the end. Well,
so once again, a little slowish start to the game, but I think we're really going to see things start to break open once A, we get a few more of these neutral items, B, we start to get more of these ultimates, and C, Pangolier 1800 gold away from that defusal. Every minute counts.
Zaya's jumping forward. Maybe you should have decided against it. Golem will be dropped from the other side, and with the onslaught, they push Niku even closer to the enemies, bashing him into the ground. They want him dead, and we'll be getting him as well. Avulus breaking the game apart. Now looking towards this mid lane as well. They will be marking Ridis, but no need to chase. The tower is just such a bigger prize.
Oh, Harry, I'm so happy. The Grimoire used 10.5 minutes with the siege creep, win a team fight, take the tower, everything going to plan for Avulus now.
Oh, nothing going to plan for Navi Jr. Bridis comes over with very low HP, almost dies to the fissure, will somehow be surviving. He even baits in Zibe. It's gonna be a way for him forward, but God the Juice, do you really want it? He doesn't even bring down the Primal Beast and goes into the Echo. Both of them getting super low. God the Juice trying to morph into strength, everything that he has. They did lose their Crystal Maiden, and somehow God the Juice is still alive. Now turning it around, finishing off Desire. Suneko next on the menu. These heals from the Shadow Word, keeping him and his teammates alive.
Golem's just chasing down PMA and, well, he's eventually going to die. Just, he actually timed out, didn't even die, so just shows the threat of having that early Warlock Golem for the drop, of course, in the mid-fight to be able to take the tower, but that damage that it does this early into the game cannot be understated.
Miley Knight, all alone, Crush to protect him, Tree Toss, and the Onslaught almost getting him into a bad position. Staneko is there to heal him, we'll get him back up to full, but of course he cannot give him his mana back. But bring down the tiny PMA. He's also scouted there by the Kurosuhei, still going strong, but Navi Jr. should be able to escape.
Running a little low on resources, with Staneko even just using the Shadow Word onto him as he TPs away, just being that little bit extra annoying, because why not? It does mean that this top side is completely opened up. You know that the Morphling is TP'd away. He TP'd down bottom, so I guess there is a small possibility that he just comes back through the Twin Gate and looks to re-engage, but I don't think he has the resources to be able to do that. But it's really just a night and day difference, isn't it, Harry Base, compared to Game 1. Off of
for sure.
Just getting so much more active around this Warlock. Like, you can see Golem's already 25 seconds away from coming up again. And by that time, this tower's gone. Maybe you do go through the Twin Gate. Maybe you use it on the bottom tier 1 tower and open up the Ancient Camp for you to be able to take. Because you're playing with a Dusa, even playing with an Earthshaker, who, if there are stacks, you just bring them together and drop the Echo. Why not? It's very important to steal away this farm from the Shaker and from the Morphling in particular.
They did defend the tower on Navi Jr. for now, of course. Blink Dagger is ready on the tiny Slaughter. Of course, doesn't have his just yet. Didn't rush it. But I really have to ask you about this Lincoln Sphere on the Morphling. I don't quite get it.
Yeah, me either. Pulverize, I guess. Like, Primal doesn't have anything else to be able to like interrupt it. Speaking of Primal, he's actually the one that's getting gone on at this point in time. Good rock.
Golem might be enough to turn it around. Doesn't look like it. They're healing him up. He has so much armor. There is a Rolling Thunder still waiting for him. He got another upper or off.
He's alive.
With the Pulverize, somehow he is still alive. Will die to the shield crash. Niku tossing away the Slaughter. He's gonna get frostbitten. Maybe even doing him a bit of a favor. Mobe, I don't know if he would have escaped there if he stayed in place.
This is what I'm talking about, where Shaker's being do-nothing position fours. I mean, Desire was just sitting down bottom the entire time, hoping that Got the Juice went out of position to drop a Echo Slam onto a full Agi morphed Morphling, but of course he didn't make that mistake, and like, still 400 gold away from being able to get into that Blink Dagger. At least he'll be able to snipe this Shrine of Wisdom, though. So, little win coming through there for Avulus.
That's a solid one, right? You do want your extra levels now in the Aftershock once you do get the Blink Dagger, and he's at least gonna have 3 points that allows you to chain people. if you want with your spells. So how do you feel the game is going at the moment? Obviously, there's a lead for Avulus, but is this a comfortable position for them, or do you think they wanted more?
I think it's comfortable enough, to be honest. Like, I think that mid lane went pretty much as expected for Slider, although Mobe has fallen off a little bit in recent times. It's because he's been getting so active around Seneko in particular, just trying to join in. I mean, it was a 4-man chaotic offering that was hit there. There just wasn't that follow-up, and this is what I'm talking about with Desire, where it just kind of feels like he's sitting around right now. And that's nothing against Desire himself as the player. It's just, I want to see him either getting involved with the team, or if you're going to be greedy and sit back and not farm, you got to actually farm, because that Blink Dagger's still 200 gold away.
Let's see. He does want to fight now. We'll be placing down a ward. Zayat's in the vicinity, but he needs to get close to that sentry if they want to kill him, and Zayat doesn't want to do it.
Hasn't got any wards placed down himself yet either. Although, that's just a career.
When they see the Tormentor die, he's gonna go forward, places down a sentry. Now he knows that they see him as well. Wants to go into the Warlock, smoke screen onto the ground. He is being healed up a lot.
Ambitious, but the boys
Very
are coming.
Ambitious. Well,
then they're going.
They're gonna be a bit late to save him, and yep, it's time to bail.
A little bit odd that that play there. I mean, it just felt like no one was really in position to truly contest and didn't have vision over the Tormentor and went in after it had already been taken. And you don't take Tormentor with just a Warlock, so the decision to just dive right on in there is certainly a puzzling one.
You know, you've been talking a lot about this Shaker not doing. Oh, no way that he just found him. Poor Diz. He thought he was gonna get out. Meanwhile, they do leave Seneko to die, so both of the position 5s losing their life. But Shaker now has a blink and a shard, so you know, he might just be the most useful out of all the supports. Nico will find him doing some damage to him, really not all that much. He also has a healing Lotus to play with. Didn't put the smoke screen down, Zayas just dies. Zibe's damage output is insane. Nico, even with the haste, he couldn't go the other way.
I think he got a little bit lucky there, Desire, with the, oh, never mind, jump in. Might not be too lucky this time around. And that haste rune that you mentioned, enabling him to get back to safety. But yeah, I think the enchant totem was meant for stunning Niku, which it did. But it also just caught Zayats as well, enabling the Echo Slam to go off, and the follow-up damage we know is going to be there from Mobe.
I mean, Zayats, he's a Shaker player himself. He needs to be able to look into the future and understand what's gonna happen. But yeah, that is quite unfortunate. Yeah, everybody hates when that happens. You blink in and suddenly there's a stun on top of you.
Yep. Mid lane. Talking about blinking in, Riddy's. He's being focused. No, okay. I was like, surely not the chaotic offering for all of that, but well, still able to get the kill for relatively free. I wonder if they're going to start making a bit of a move up towards the top side, because, well, they don't know it, but all of the vision right now on Na'Vi Jr. is down bottom, and you've got decent amount for yourselves up top on Avulus. You, at the time, had Shibe there on his Primal Beast as well. But he's just trampling trees at the moment, not actually accomplishing too much of anything. But yeah, surely. Oh, hold on. That's a big golem.
That is a lot of damage onto Zayas. He did heal up a solid amount. Needs to be careful with the corrosive haze on him. This golem can kill him quite easily. But in the end, golem dropped. Not a single kill has been taken by Avulus. So Na'Vi Jr. are kind of gonna be happy about it.
So yeah, do they stick around this area and try and just consistently go for kills? I mean, they're going to need to wait 20 seconds at least for the Echo Slam on Desire. Or do you wait for the BKB coming through? Because that really does feel like the big tipping point, is that once Mobe has that spell immunity, he doesn't care about CM at all. He doesn't care about Tiny at all. It's still too early for him to be, you know, doing too much right-click damage on this Tiny that you really need to be overly concerned about.
I feel like the BKB on the Primal Beast is enough to posture aggressively, and then with the BKB on the Slardar, you dive, right? That's kind of how I'm looking at this one. And Slardar is a bit too speedy for the rest of his team.
And he's not in a position to bait yet because he doesn't have that BKB. Maybe now he's just going to go in, put his body out there, try and act as inconspicuous as possible. And they've taken the bait.
Coming from the other side. You're gonna be finding a Ricky with the onslaught, so many stuns, and just when you have this many spells to play with, it's impossible to get out once you get caught.
But that just felt like much more of a, team-oriented play. That seems like they're far more on the same page, and you can even just have a look at Mobe's items, realizing that, you know what, I'm not having quite as good game as my Primal Beast. He's had himself a really good start. I'm just going to go for the front line and the survivability. You can be the one to do the damage on the Primal and the Deucer, to be honest, right? Essence Ring as well being chosen up by him, and even just going the mystical enchantment or the magic resist.
Yeah, I feel like for a Slardar, you just want a Blink, BKB, Shard, and you've done your job. That's how it goes. You're gonna be elevating the damage of the Medusa by a lot, really.
For sure. I mean, you occasionally see the an Echo Saber every now and then if it's like more of a solo play. Not able to get the kill off there on going either ways, just really looking to make use out of that shield rune with Niku. One of the best heroes in the Tiny to be able to grab it. It's just so hard to be able to burst through that much.
Ricky does have a shard, right? So that does change things a lot. Minus armor, but of course not being able to get forced out of your out of the smoke screen. That's gonna be a problem. About being forced away.
Oh no!
Oh, Rolling Thunder, he made a mistake. Still gets up to the high ground, and Desire should be taken out. Mobe, Slytherin crush available, but he needs to run away. There it is, the sprint now. Gonna be a blink away just in time. Mobe, he knows what's up. There is a Warlock in the vicinity, so a Golem drop there to cover for him was available, but not needed.
Oh, split-second differences there. Almost didn't get away, and a little bit of a mistake there by PMA. Just getting the angle for the Rolling Thunder slightly off the mark. He's also going for a Lotus Orb, which this makes a lot more sense than the Lincolns that we were talking about. Of course, the Pulverize still a very relevant thing to have to worry about, but just to be able to use a Lotus for Fatal Bonds, to be able to use it for the Corrosive Haze.
Niku found, pulverized into the ground. The BKB of Zibe now coming in handy, and once they do mark him, the damage output should be more than enough. You just do not have the armor necessary to survive. That Zayats has been found. Fissure on him. Morgan's Grasp was off the mark, but you only need one of those spells to connect.
Yeah, nicely done by Desire, on point with a lot of these stuns coming through. I love that he plays very aggressively around the rest of his team. He's got his items. You don't need to sit back and wait, and he's going into that 4-staff of his own, really realizing that, everyone's pretty much going to need one of these for themselves, because I ain't saving you from a Ricky that dives in too deep.
That does open up a potential for Roche with the Corrosive Haze. Any lineup is made into a Roche lineup, and I'm looking at Navi Jr. and their potential to defend this. With the Rolling Thunder, they might be able to. They just need to get there in time.
Yeah, they would have seen Desire walking down towards the pit, so they've got a sense that it's going on, but I'm sure Avilis are thinking along the same lines in that, Tiny just respawned a couple of seconds ago, probably don't have time to be able to contest this one properly.
And that's the Medusa timing, right? In the previous game, he went for a bit of a different build, but this is pretty much when Medusas just start mowing down your outer towers. You have a Butterfly, you have a Manta, and Aegis already on top of that, so Smiling Knight is pretty much going to be unstoppable for the time being.
Really seems to me like Zayats is going for like a support killer build, right? Like enough tankiness to be able to survive on the backlines with that Essence Ring and the Brawny enchantment, but also, some value items. Orb of Corrosion now uses the Band of Elven Skin to be able to just buff up the Agi a decent amount. He's got Power Treads coming out very shortly. He's got a Wraith Band. Feels pretty good at just being able to find like a quick pick-off or at least force a panicked reaction out of Seneko.
The problem is no defusal. See if he can maybe do it. I always look at the Ricky as like this disruptive force. Go into the backlines, give vision, show where the enemies are at. I'm not sure though. It feels like they kill him way too fast in this one. Yep, gonna do it again. Poor guy.
Back off on PMA. Nah, he's playing a Ricky. Screw him.
That's how you look at it. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Though I feel like Ricky is not as hated in the community because really hasn't been that carry nuisance that Murder supports for years, basically.
And they gave Sentry Wards that nice little buff as well to their radius, so it's a little less annoying to have to deal with.
And the dust now lingers, right? So quite annoying as well for any of his heroes, but they still get picked up. Bounty Hunter Ricky still very well established in the meta as supports, of course. Got the juice. He's gonna be going for the butterfly of his own. This Morphling is farmed, but I can't shake the feeling that he's gonna be needing a lot more, and that this gold lead of Avulus feels very hard to catch up to.
I mean, the big thing that I'm really looking at is the impact coming through from Riddies. I mean, he was close to my MVP in game number 1 of this series, and honestly haven't felt the impact of his Crystal Maiden at all this game so far.
And will we?
0-5 and 2. Probably not. I mean, he's going to need to... I don't hate the purchase of the Parvis, just physical damage against this Avulus lineup feels pretty damn good. And of course, once it eventually becomes a Solar Crest, it's going to be great amp damage for the Morphling. I'm honestly a little bit more surprised that there hasn't been more emphasis put onto this Torment that's just respawned now on the bottom side of the map. I mean, they've got vision on Ridis to know that it is available and it is up, but are you not wanting just a free shard for your Pango, for your Tiny? Feels like mega value.
Maybe that was the idea. Try to catch your opponents there rather than and get it yourself. We'll see. Well, with God the Juice DPing away, that might not be happening.
But Avulus are pretty... what's the word? Disciplined with their sentry warding of every single time that they use... they're going for the Torment. They're not wanting to get caught out with their pants down. So I doubt we're going to get that like surprise jump coming through.
I think they got a gem now as well. Yeah, it is on the Warlock, so it's even more unlikely. But you know, when you are, I don't know, you're 9k gold behind, you have to think about different ways to get yourself back in it.
Yeah, I mean, they know that this Torment is going on, but there we go. The gem is used. They get rid of that. They very, very quickly take it down off the back of the Slardar Corrosive Haze, plus the huge amount of damage that Smiling Knight has. Haven't even mentioned the Skadi that he just picked up as well, so can't think of too many better spells against a Morphling. Speaking of Morph...
Lincoln's broken with the Corrosive Haze, smashed into the ground. They still had the Corrosive Haze on Desire from afar. Finishes him off with the Fissure. The Morphling has been farming for 25 minutes just to die in 1 second. Desire is not done. He's force-staffing forward to catch Zayats, and there's the Blink. Gonna be slowing him down as much as possible. Once the Corrosive Haze connects, that is when you are very likely to get the skill, but Zayats doesn't want to die that easily, and with the tricks of the trade onto the high ground he goes and actually lives through it all.
And that was like a 0.01 second slightly late Fissure coming out from Desire, and Zayat's skilled enough to be able to get back, and he's building into a Nullifier for himself. Okay, I mean, Solar Crest, sure. I don't really see any other core stuffs. I guess Ghost Scepter on the Warlock is the thing that they really just want to take out this pesky Seneko, but the difference is they don't have a Night Stalker with Ion Shell to be able to dive the backlines this time around.
The next wave is coming. They're not using the glyph here, so not really gonna be dealing with the creep waves at all. Avulus get themselves a tier 3, pull back, and that is a very nice usage of the first Aegis.
Oh, absolutely. You know, if you can invade high ground with first Aegis, that's a massive win across the board. And I'm always just looking for, like, what is the thing that's going to bring them back into this game on Na'Vi Jr., because they don't have much on their Ricky. They don't have much on their Crystal Maiden. Still holding on to 1,300 gold on Ridis, but I feel like that could be better spent actually, you know, trying to get some aggressive potential, some usage out of that. He can afford the Parvis if he wanted to, but does he care about buyback that much? With Aegis expiring, I wouldn't have thought so.
Well, Villas, they care about pushing this lead even further. They're in such a good position in this game, and they are definitely longing for revenge after being demolished in that game 1. Game 2, of course, they already exercised it, but winning this one would get them one step closer to making it to the DreamLeague season 26.
Would you like any spoilers of the other series and knowing which team they would be facing?
Of course.
All right, well, cover your ears if you don't want to know. This was the series between Capybaras and Secret, which was a 2-1 in favor of Secret. So Secret are sitting there in the lower bracket final, waiting the winner of this game. And, I mean, you talk about those early Dream Leagues. Secret was a mainstay of those.
Pretty much. My boy Mixa making it through. We are finally getting some big representatives from my country, and we'll see if they're gonna be winning in the next match. Neither Avilist nor Navi Junior are gonna be an easy opponent.
You know what? I'm gonna claim KP's assistant coaching role as a TI win for Australia. That's 3 that we've got now.
Easy. That's how it goes. We have two wins because Spirit is a Serbian team. So.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, we're both from very successful Dota countries, and that is very nice to see. Either way, though, the game does continue. What is kind of the way that Navi Junior has to play this? Is this really just a situation of we are gonna protect high ground with a tiny toss back? Has it gone that far?
I mean, maybe, or it might just be once again looking to set up for that perfect fight inside the Roche pit. You know, get a smoke and initiate with that Rolling Thunder, but Rolling Thunder was just used, and PMA is dead as a doornail.
Yeah, his TP while he was rolling got cancelled by a golem. I was like, what's happening? Why is a golem being used in the base? But no, Soneko hasn't lost his mind. That is a very nice spell to use. So no Pango for quite some time. You can shove in the waves. We'll see if maybe they're gonna try to poke at the high ground, maybe secure the range axes.
What do you reckon about what Got the Juice is doing? Like, he's kind of in, I don't want to even say 2 minds. Like, he's bought 2 components, the 2 more expensive components of his butterfly, and then he's gone back and bought a disperser instead. So he's delaying other stuff just to be able to have something happening against this Medusa. Like, she just feels too big of an issue, I suppose. But can you even take this fight? What is that TP?
Oh, the creeps
the
respond
toss.
in the worst possible situation. He did use the Manta in a good timing anyway, so maybe it wouldn't have mattered, but definitely the wrong time to jump in. And now, no Tiny, no Rolling Thunder. How do you defend?
You don't. You're getting run at.
Well, they're doing their best, but this is like prime Medusa gaming. 30 minutes into the game, you have all of your items, and they can't do anything about it.
I just feel like they waited that little bit too long. Poor CM is just forced to sit on the back lines. The second you step forward, you're just getting 2 hit. All he's got queued up in the old quick buy is just wards. You're not going to get too much more than a Solar Crest this game.
I feel like if you look at any of their items, you can just say you're not gonna get more than whatever they have, because it does look like this game is very close to its end.
I mean, can they even... Is there any... Got the Juice? Okay.
Yeah, we'll be going for the Ricky. He doesn't have a buyback,
Buyback.
so that is a perfect one to get rid of. 70 seconds on the sidelines.
2
The
hit.
question is, will he get a chance even to play this game any longer, to play the series or to play this qualifier? Because looks quite grim.
Certainly not the way that you want your last pick to be showing up. I mean, this is going to be the final attempt, I feel, that they're looking to try and make. Niku waiting on the sidelines, trying to find a quick pick off onto someone, but you got to do something now. You're going to get megged.
Now or never. Can you play versus Mega Creeps? If you don't want to do it, we're just gonna kill you all. BKB from Obe from afar. The Shaker is just gonna be using that Fissure. Niku has used this BKB, and they're gonna wait for it to expire as Avilus. They secured themselves a Mega Creep. Zibe is gonna get tossed back. He doesn't really mind being here. Lotus Orb to protect the Tiny from nothing, and Fissure from afar.
great
He's gonna have
Fissure.
the Echo in a second!
Woo!
And just getting it in a perfect moment. They still don't destroy them. Rolling Thunder being used. Got the Juice is somehow alive. We'll get the waveform onto the high ground there, but in
Pulverized.
the end, you have to call GG. It is over for Navi Junior. Danog and Avilus are gonna be the team that faces off against.
What a turnaround in form from both the first series of this entire qualifiers as well as the first game of this series. Like, they just looked completely dead in the water, and Well, they've turned it around, and they've been able to make it work with the Warlock as well. All it took was just playing a little bit more aggressive, Harry. That's all you need, and you saw how quickly the map opened up for them. You know, it just prevented a whole lot of safe places for them to be able to farm. It meant that there were far more frequent pickoffs onto these squishier cores in the early stages, and well, Avulus didn't let Navi Jr. go to their plan A, which was greedy Zayats going in really deep. They just punished him time after time after time. It was a great slaughter with their final pick of the draft, but I just don't think CM was that answer that they needed.
I think so as well. And also, 2 games in a row, great decision making to send the Medusa to the offlane. I feel like in the previous game, it was to protect your offlaner. In this one, it is just because it was that good versus the CM Morphling. They couldn't do anything. That Medusa and Danog, we've got the 2 remaining teams. Secret, Avulus. You and me are done here, but if you would have to make a prediction, who's going to DreamLeague?
Let's say Secret. I want to see them back in the sun once again. I want to see your boy Mixer showing up and showing what these Serbians can do at the top level.
Okay, makes sense. So overall, that next series will start in an hour. It is going to be on the ESL Dota 2 mainstream, right? So a really big game to watch. Secret, Avulus, some big names on both sides. Is it going to be Puppy back in the Tier 1 tournaments, or will Avulus continue now, even with the new roster, to qualify for them? You will find out in an hour on the mainstream. Make sure that you watch that one. Danog, thank you for casting with me, and we'll see you all some other time.
Oh, she pushed her in and she watched her down. Hey, the gay and the grindy. Watched her body floating down by the bonny, bonny pools of London. Oh, they laid her out on the bank to die. Hey, the gay and the grindy. For with the fiddle came riding by the bonny, bonny pools of London. And he made some strings from this yellow hair. Hey, the gay and the grindy. Made some strings from this yellow hair by the bonny, bonny balls of London. And he made fiddle pegs from a long finger bone. Hey, the gay and the grindy. Made fiddle pegs from a long finger bone by the bonny, bonny balls of London. And he made a fiddle out of her breastbone. Hey, the gay and the grinding. Sound would pierce the heart of a stone by the bonny, bonny balls of London. But the only tune that the fiddle would play was Ho, the balls of London. The only tune the fiddle would play was the bonny, bonny balls of London.
Where the wind can cut you like a knife, and nights are colder than the purser's wife, sir. Do we dream of sunny skies of blue and sipping on some fancy foreign brew, sir? No, sir, no. We long to sail where greyer English skies prevail, and we would face the wind and snow and hail for just one pail of good old English ale, sir. Just one pail of good old English ale, sir. Did we choose to fight the foreign foe for England's glory? We must answer no, sir. An English ale house, that's where we would be, not gorging cannonballs upon the sea, sir. We're only risking life and limb because old England's too far to swim. But we would chance an iron arm or leg for just one keg of good old English ale, sir. Just one keg of good old English ale, sir. Many days and many lonely nights without one woman hoving into sight, sir. Now it won't be long till we see our wives and sweethearts lined up on the quay, sir, with their arms all open wide. But we will push them gently aside, for they will have to wait for us until we've had our fill of good old English ale, sir. Had our fill of good old English ale, sir.
Come landlord, fill the flowing bowl until it doth run over. Come landlord, fill the flowing bowl until it doth run over. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. Tomorrow we'll be sober. Here's to the man who drinks strong ale and goes to bed quite mellow. Here's to the man who drinks strong ale and goes to bed quite mellow. He lives as he ought to live. He lives as he ought to live. He lives as he ought to live. And dies a jolly good fellow. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. Tomorrow we'll be sober. Here's to the man who drinks water neat and goes to bed quite sober. Here's to the man who drinks water neat and goes to bed quite sober. He fades as the leaves do fade. He fades as the leaves do fade. He fades as the leaves do fade. That drop off in October. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. Tomorrow we'll be sober. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and goes to tell her mother. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and goes to tell her mother. She is a very foolish girl. She is a very foolish girl. She is a very foolish girl. She'll never get another. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. Tomorrow we'll be sober. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and comes back for another. Here's to the girl who takes a kiss and comes back for another. She is a boon to all mankind. She is a boon to all mankind. She is a boon to all mankind. She'll very soon be a mother. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. For tonight will merry, merry be. Tomorrow we'll be sober.
As I went down to Galway town to seek for recreation, on the 17th of August, me mind being elevated. There's multitudes assembled there with tickets at the station, and me eyes began to dazzle. I'm going to see the races with me whack, fall the two, fall the tittery-eyed and dame. There's passengers from Limerick and there's more from Tipperary. There's lads from Connemara and a flare of married ladies, and people from Cork City who are true and loyal and faithful, who brought home the Fenian prisoners from dying in foreign nations. With me whack, fall the two, fall the tittery-eyed and dame. And it's there you'll see the pipers and the fiddlers competing, the nimble-footed dancers a tripping o'er the daisies. There's others crying cigars and